like the
Like straight?
upright, yes.
Oh, right, yes.
Forthwith.
Oh my god.
Where the fuck's my tobacco?
Where the
Right,
fuck's
let's
me
get on.
channel? Where the fuck's me channel?
I said me tobacco.
Yeah, see, it doesn't. I know that. It doesn't give me the option to change my shit, so I'm kind of concerned now. It just says Amy K live stream. Yo, bitch, what do you mean Amy K live stream? What do you mean Amy K live stream? How the hell does
I
that
am
help
not.
me?
I am not impressed.
Remember, I was telling you before that I had like issues. I've been having issues with
Oh yeah, you've
Streamlabs.
got issue.
Shut the fuck up. You're such a dick. Hey, Paul. Hi, Credo.
Oh, are we live now?
Yeah, man.
How unprofessionally not fucking
I
telling
don't
me.
fucking care about professionalism. Anyways, I was telling you this problem that I keep having with Streamlabs that I don't really know what to do with it. I messaged them to get it fixed, and they said they fixed it, and now I can't, like, it doesn't, like, certain things don't pop up or work when they're supposed to, so I can't fight with it anymore. So professionalism is just out the window with this streaming thing. It's gonna be like the most unedited garbage, totally fucking confusing experience ever, and I'm okay with that. Why does it have
Okay.
to be perfect? And and that's the problem with the world, isn't it? Everybody's just so super edited now.
Yeah. Well, I think. I mean, you want to try and make things the way you want them to be. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, yeah, professionalism, like, it's become stagnant and fucking stale. I think.
Well, it's just becoming like we want to push the same continuous buttons that everybody else is pushing so that we can get the same viewers, right? It's formulaic. That's what we were talking about a while ago, right? Like everything is so formulaic. Music is so formulaic. It's so fucking boring. Like if you want to create something original and different, not to say that being unprofessional is like advantageous behavior or anything, but I'm just saying that if you want to create
Mhm.
something different, you have to be okay with the fuck ups, and maybe it's not always going to turn out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like, talking about music, like most of the bands that I admire the most, they worked with their limitations, and then that's where the originality came from. So, like you were talking about Tim Dillon, he doesn't like to have guests. You were telling me.
Yeah, yeah.
So his limitations, like the box he puts himself in, makes his shit his own.
Have you listened to any of his recent stuff?
I listened when the whole fucking, you know, pandemic fucking started. I listened to like there was one when he was talking. It was like really early on before I think there was maybe like one or two cases in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Really early on when it started hitting America, and Americans started actually caring about it. And he was talking about um, he was basically calling out like, yeah, it's gonna get really fucking bad. And yeah, I can't remember much of that episode because I think I was at that point where I was tired of hearing about it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
He's the
I just
only
wanted
person
to.
I've made an exception for listening to his podcast again and again because I don't want to hear anybody else talk about it. At least he's fucking funny.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I was watching Bad Friends because they'll like talk about it a little bit, but they're mostly just taking the piss out of each other, and it was really refreshing just to see two people like taking the piss out of each other.
That was
It's like,
Bobby.
oh,
That's
mate,
Bobby Lee and Andrew.
Santino, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you ever seen that guy on YouTube? I can't remember his name, but he's got like a little like kind of small. It's like a relatively decent sized YouTube channel. You know what I mean? Like it isn't small or anything, but he's got this kind of like shock jock, um, or like kind of like real like. And we got some Van Halen coming down the pipes for you. You know that kind of like radio style, like but like it's a bit like Howard Stern a bit as well.
Mm-mm.
But he just goes through all the podcasts and like shit talks like every comedian and like says how bad they are. And like he like rags on Joe Rogan all the time and shit. And he acts like he's a fucking superstar, but like guaranteed you wouldn't know who the fuck he is. And he was like pointing out all this shit about Bad Friends, saying like, oh look how bad the the background to the podcast looks and all this shit, and it's like they're not taking themselves seriously. Like you're taking them more seriously than they're taking themselves, and then you're holding them to your own standards. Like it really fucking irritated me.
Yeah, that's
And then
weird.
I was like,
The whole podcast thing is just like there was a clip that I cut out of one of the Tim Dillon ones where he was getting complaints of like, why don't you look at the camera while you're podcasting? Like, why don't you answer listener mail? And he's like, fuck, if you don't, go watch something else. Like, I don't want to look at you. And plus, it's not like you're actually looking at someone. You're looking at a
yeah,
camera. You're just creating the illusion that you're looking at someone and you're fucking not. So I think it's super weird to look at a video and think like, oh my god, you're talking to me directly. Like Stefan Molyneux does that really weird thing where he like angles the camera down and he's kind of looking at it very intensely, and it's just like, I don't
like
know. It definitely creates some sort of a. He's meaning to create some sort of a I'm talking at you like field around him.
like like he's giving everyone a lecture.
Yeah, I don't like that. It always made me not want to watch him. It's like, you're not my dad. Why are we taking the
You know my
platform so far?
dad.
Yeah, you're my dad. Why are we
Have you seen
taking.
that video?
Mm-mm.
Okay, go on. Sorry.
It's okay. Maybe I have seen it.
Wow.
I feel like maybe if I did, you sent
It's
it to me.
that little black kid, and like he's like looking up at the camera, and some guy's like trying to get him to do something. He's like, "You're not my dad. Fuck you."
I feel like I have
Um,
seen that. I
yeah,
can't
you will have.
remember.
That guy's YouTube channel is Red Bar Scars Club or something.
The one you were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
before, who was
yeah,
giving
yeah,
shit to Andrew Santino and whatever.
yeah. And he's got like he's got a video he put up a week ago called one sec. Load in. Chris D'Elia, Andrew Santino, and Gavin McInnes have no content. Comedians are out of things to say.
I mean, I
Um,
agree with that to a point.
yeah, but I mean, like, because there's a huge elephant in the room, which is this pandemic. So people are trying to like
Yeah, to lighten the
force,
mood
like,
and like stay
you're
away from it.
noticing them forcing content more than you would be, in regular times because they can be a bit more free with it. But like, there's one like Tom Segura caught lying. Joe Rogan confirms. Like it's just like bitch shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's awful. Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino's low effort podcast. It's
I
like who are
mean,
you to say how much
but
you should
why
put
does a
in?
podcast need to be anything but low effort? Why do people
Exactly.
try and make it more than what it is? Like, all you're doing is sitting down and having a fucking conversation. You know what I mean? There's nothing else to it. Why do, like, my background now, you see it, it's entirely black. I took my cue from Tim Dillon. I'm like, yeah, why the fuck am I sitting here trying to make the background so this and make the aesthetics look like this? Like, it's about the conversation. Stop distracting away from what's more important, which is the conversation or whatever is happening between the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
about how it looks. I get that that's a way to attract people, but at the end of the day, you're either there for the conversation or you're there for stupid ass reasons that make no sense.
Yeah. Well, there's like if you look at that guy's podcast, it's like he's trying too hard. I think he's got like a picture, like he's got like a backdrop of the city and all that stuff. Like you can tell he wants to be like Howard Stern or something.
Hmm.
Where is it? Yeah, it's got like a picture of the backdrop of the city, and like yeah, it looks pretty fuck, but it's like it's so like it's formulaic, like we were saying before. It's
Hmm.
I've seen it 1,000 times before. It looks like every talk show host fucking backdrop.
Hmm.
And it's like the same kind of attitude, and he's got like the female fucking like co-host or whatever, like it's like how it's like you would see on Howard Stern. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's also an easy time. It's always easy to be the negative channel. You know what I mean? To be the channel
Yeah,
that talks shit about other people just trying to do stuff because a lot of people flock to that negative shit. Is he popular? Does he have subscribers? Probably, right?
I think it's like a fairly decent channel size. Oh look, he's
I
got
mean,
15.
those numbers are arbitrary to me. I don't really understand what they mean.
Yeah, they don't because you have channel. It's all relative, really, because
Hmm.
it's like how many subscribers you get, and then
Hmm.
like how like somebody could have like 1 million subscribers, but they're getting like 20,000 video views on a video. Like, and then you have somebody who's got like 20K and they get like 20,000 views every fucking week. Like that's 100% fucking subscriber, you know, view ratio. So this guy, he's got 15K, but he gets like higher than his subscriber count because
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people hate watching him. But yeah, you're right. Like it's he says like, oh, all these comedians have run out of content, and it's like, well, all your content
Is
is
about
ragging
other
on these
people's
guys.
content.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
shit's
You
so
got
funny
no
to me. If they were not putting out content, you would have no content to make content with either.
exactly. They
I don't
just
know. I just
fucking
think the whole idea, the whole concept at this point of like being successful on YouTube just seems like off to me. I've never cared about that. And I wonder that if I did care about that, if that would make a difference. I don't think it would. It's either I'm going to change what I'm doing to fit the formula and get views, which
mm,
is a shitty goal in my opinion, or I just keep doing what I do, and whoever likes it. Who doesn't doesn't. I've always had that kind of mantra about this. I've never been super attached to it, but I don't like the idea of like making content to shit on content and saying other people's shit sucks.
well, you need to come up with your own fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you're just gonna leech off everybody, like that's bottom of the barrel shit in my opinion. I think, but as for kind of getting wrapped up in the whole like how many views you're getting, like yeah, like if you're putting something out there, like you want to have at least somebody or like some people watching or get some feedback. But in terms of like trying to like be like the next big thing on YouTube or whatever, like it's so ridiculous because the fact is that the internet and the nature of it, it's so fleeting. Everything happens so fast. It's
Mm-hmm.
like there's one big fucking trend and the next minute it's over.
Yeah.
Like remember like Kumate's shit and all that. There was the whole fucking
Oh my
thing.
god! I totally forgot that existed at fucking all. The
Yeah,
kumite was so gross. I can't even believe for a while I like engaged with that fucking group of people that was like all up on the shit of that. I was like,
yeah.
oh my
Oh, you know,
god,
you get
like
wrapped
Andy
up.
Worski and like, ew, remember Andy Worski?
Do you remember when? Do you, do you remember when he was in like Las Vegas or something, and some guys like started trying to fight him, and then one of his friends like pulled out a gun, and he was like, "Step the fuck back!" Like getting
Oh,
really
that was
aggressive
so
for the guy. The guy
embarrassing.
was just not asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that guy. Like then he was like lighting his nipple on fire or lighting his I don't know. He's doing something weird like that.
Well, Carter's
Like
talking about if you start fights, you get exposure. Yeah, everybody does love a dumpster fire, but what does that say about you? What does that say about you if that's what you want to ingest as like cognitive diet? It's not good for you.
um,
I start to watch it. The only reason I
I
get
think
roped into that shit is because I just want to fit in. That's the truth, right? I'm like, I'm gonna
yeah.
watch this shit because it makes me fit into this group. And then I watch it, and then, like, as I continue to watch it more and more, I feel sick. Like, I don't feel healthy.
Yeah, well, I think why so many because I think obviously the internet is what is it like 80 set or something like 70 between 70 and 80% of it is male, like in
Yeah,
terms of people
yeah.
who use it. So when you see things like that, like it's like a really cheap version of like roast battle or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's competition for people who aren't like athletic or like gifted in any other way. Like if you can just talk shit or at least try to, it's a way of like competing as a male. Like I think that's why it gets so popular. Like that's why Twitter's so popular with like people like shitting on each other for political reasons or like, oh, this you said
Do you know
that.
what
It's
I want?
like
I want the internet to go dark. I can hear my voice right now. I want the internet to go dark. And I want all
you,
these bitch ass dudes who hide behind their monitors to go out into the world and fucking start having fights. Because everybody's
well,
a
you won't
tough
see it.
guy. No, of course you won't see it because these guys are bitches, man. The only way that they can assert their dominance is by being a fucking douche on the internet.
Yeah, are you coming back through my microphone? Is that what you were saying?
I was. I'm fine now.
Oh, okay. Well, um, well, yeah, that's what it is. You know, like that's why like violence, even in like even in violent cities, it's rare compared to like what like your everyday.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like 90% of the time, people are just going about their day. Even in the most violent cities, it's just that, you know. Whereas in like some nice part of fucking California, like it's rare to see somebody like fight, but then like in a worse part, it's rare to see somebody get shot. But the fact is, somebody's getting shot, and then in
Right.
the other fucking nice place, somebody's just getting a fucking, you know, getting the fucking chin knocked off. Like that's the difference. But yeah,
But
it's
these
still
people don't
rare.
know fighting. Like now that I'm watching this Vietnam documentary, which by the way, I can't stop talking about it. I'm really excited for you to see it. You should see it.
Yeah.
Like you see what people went through in war and shit, and like it's so difficult to think that anybody now is as tough as the men that were built during these wars and who went to war and shit. These
Oh
fucking
yeah, yeah.
assholes right now, they're just weak.
Well, I mean, like I like guys who went to like storm the beaches of Normandy or whatever the fuck. Like, yeah, pick a war, right? Like I've got nothing on those fucking guys. You
Mm-mm.
know what I mean? Like, yeah, like if push come to shove, like I would have to do that. Like that's it's a mixture of peer pressure, like my sense of like how much I care for my nation, things like that. Like I would go and do it, but whether I could handle it as well as some of those guys did, like that's a whole other question. Like I
But how
don't know.
strong would the idea? I can hear myself again.
Motherfucker, right?
Put some headphones on.
Turn you down.
Yeah, that's a good idea because my
Yes, I
voice
can
carries.
finally turn Amy's voice down. It's a gift.
You're so rude.
Speak.
That's better. Um, shit, I was gonna fucking ask you a really good question. Oh yeah, how strong would the idea need to be? Like, what reasoning is there to justify personally you going to war? Like, it would have to be an actual defensive operation, right? Because if you're offensively going to war, you're not defending yourself. You're offensively going to war.
But it depends. It's like, what are you fighting? Are you fighting like an Islamic regime that is hell bent on, dropping fucking dirty bombs in European cities? Like, is that what you're fighting? If that's what you're fighting, then yeah, it's worth being offensive.
It's worth being a
Obviously, on
part of
the
the war
offense.
that's going to eradicate that.
Yeah, it's worth being the kind of justified aggressor in terms of actually, kicking the fight off.
Yeah, but I'm talking about you personally. What reasoning
Me
would you
personally.
need to go to the war? And you're saying that if the UK was engaged in fighting against terrorism or religious ideology and your country wanted to participate in that fight, you would
If the
go?
ideas if the ideas actively sought to destroy the ideas that I hold dear, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like, westernized democracy, liberalism, rights, freedom of the press, freedom of speech. Like if you're actively against that and you look like you're becoming, a international, like if you're becoming a big player on the world stage in terms of like military power, uh, economic influence, things like that, like yeah, and you start to show yourself as a threat, like that would be good enough reason probably, especially
Mm-hmm.
as I get older. You know what I mean? Like when you're young, you're like you're more selfish, and then also I think as you get older and you realize, okay, well, like a lot of the things that I wanted to do on a personal level probably aren't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm willing to kind of like put myself on the line for like future generations or like younger. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like when I was younger, like I'd see like you know kids or whatever, and it would be like, oh, I'm a kid, but now I'm older and I see kids like walking down the street and they have to like say hi to their friends through a fucking window now. Like that fucking breaks my heart. Like so, like that shit matters to me.
Yes, it's like so super weird. Like the idea of saying hi to your friends from windows and then saying hi to your friend in the middle of a war, or like giving your friend like a hey, what's up? It's all good. We just got shot at for like 15, 20 fucking minutes and there's missiles being dropped from the fucking sky. But yo, what's up? Remember
What
I
do you
asked you
mean?
yesterday, would you rather be in a pandemic or a war? And you said you'd rather be in war.
Yeah,
How? Why?
because I know when I like I can see when I'm fighting. Like I can see the danger. Like I can't see. It's like it's this invisible fucking specter of death, and it's like, oh no, I don't want that. Like I'd much rather take the chance of like taking a bullet through the head by a fucking sniper or something and having my lights turned off than like suffering in a bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like suffering in a bed, like and trying to like fight something every fucking second of every fucking day, and your body's like going through it. Like I'd much rather take the chance of getting shot, injured, or being shot and fatally wounded than dying in like an hour or so. Like that seems more. It just seems more like something I could deal with a lot easier.
Okay, but let's say you're not. Let's say you're not ill, right? Like your situation, the way you are now, you're not ill versus like global pandemic or global war. I'd way rather be in a pandemic. War looks horrific. And I wonder if this is a gender thing because I see that shit and it just like, it arrests me.
Well, it's because I feel like I have more control. I think that's like I'm getting by on my you know if you're like obviously I know I've never been in the military.
Yeah,
Anyone
yeah.
out there who's actually served, they're probably going to be like bullshit. But like from what I've watched with like Jacko Willick and that, like it's a lot of like your smarts, your ingenuity, all these things like they can get you through war. Like and yeah, you may be fucked up and scarred afterwards, but there's something about like disease, like it doesn't matter how smart you are, it doesn't matter how strong you are, like it's gonna fucking take you down if it gets you. You know what I mean? Like there are people my age dying from this thing all over the world. Like, and yeah, it's a small minority, but fuck that. And as I light a cigarette, I understand it's not the best thing to do.
You're not even supposed to be smoking. I shouldn't even be talking because I was smoking cigarettes up until like the day before I got violently ill. And it's definitely, this is what I hate about being human. It takes some sort of fucking crisis or some extreme situation to just knock you out of your regular patterns of thought because it's not like I didn't know the whole time I was smoking that I shouldn't be smoking. It's going to worsen my chances of not getting this. It's going to make it worse. It'll increase the potential for me getting sick. And then I fucking got sick and now I'm like, even in my head, I'm like, oh, I kind of want a cigarette. I'm feeling a lot better, da 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 da. And then I don't. I can't.
Okay. You don't mind seeing me have one, it's not gonna make you want.
No,
Mind
no,
you, you're
not at
not gonna
all.
get
No,
it.
no, no. You're good.
Yeah, fuck you anyway. um, yeah, I mean, look, you gotta kind of weigh your options, haven't you? Like, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one because it's like I've obviously I'm addicted, so there's going to be a big bias there chemically and mentally. But I think I don't know. It's like I've had I can't go out. I can't travel further than like my fucking area.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see family, friends. Like if there's one little fucking thing I can enjoy, as Hitchens said, gold. Um, what did he say? My little glowing friend or something like that. It's his birthday today, isn't it?
Is it Hitchens' birthday today?
Yeah.
7 days before Hitler's?
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Hitchens.
Yeah, happy birthday. I
I
might
would
have
have
a
loved to
whiskey.
hear what he had to say about all this Trump nonsense and everything. I'm so glad I haven't been listening to the news, but from when I last left my news watching career, I was very starkly made aware of the fact that Trump is doing an awful job handling this. Boris was doing great. Justin Trudeau is doing pretty well considering. And
Yeah.
it's really hard for me to not be supportive. Like, was it you who were telling me that people found out that Boris Johnson was in the hospital and they're like, fuck him, he's a piece of shit? It's like,
Yeah.
no, you're the piece of shit, man. You are the piece of shit.
Yeah, I was in this server on Discord, the Anthony Fantano one. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
it's the official one,
Mm-hmm.
so I should say that. Like, it might be like a one that fans have made. And there was like some people in there like, oh, I wish he died. And then when I was in there the other day in the text, they were saying like, oh, he's getting better. Like they were pissed off that he's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I don't care like how, I don't know. I just don't.
Dude, Trump could get sick tomorrow and I wouldn't be like, fuck you, fuck Trump. Why?
Mm,
Because he disagrees with you politically? Like, he's a human being. And
yeah,
that's what's gross about this is like there's going to be people who continue to be just utter pieces of garbage shit, piece of shit, black hole piece of shits. And they don't care if there's a global pandemic. They don't care that people
yeah,
are sick and suffering and shit. They're just like, well, you don't agree with me. Meh. This is the entire problem with the polarization of America right now. Is that everybody that doesn't agree with you, you don't even see as a human fucking being.
yep, exactly. And like that's why like the whole fuck white people like actually kind of worried me in a lot of ways because it I don't want to compare it to things that have happened in the past, but like, when you have people saying like pretty extreme positions about white people, like, when like
I
if
started
you told
spinning my
me,
chair at the same time as you, and I just noticed,
um,
and I was like, "Fuck." Anyways, yeah, yeah.
um, like if you told me that like, university students would be touting the same bullshit as like black separatists and black nationalists and stuff, you know, like I wouldn't have believed you, like, and it's quite worrying, and things like that. And if you don't see your enemy as human, like that's when things like free speech and all that go the way because it's like one rule for me, one rule for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, it's like the social justice warrior ethos, right?
yeah, and
Justice
it's a
for
lot of
me, but not for
rival.
thee, and justice for me is justice for all. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
you selfish piece of shit. Nice one. There's a reason you can't convince everybody to think like you, and it's because you want everybody to think just like you. Like
Yeah.
these like Vietnam veterans are talking about like just how much they fucking hated the Vietnamese. And like one of the soldiers, he couldn't even explain why. He's like, I just fucking hated them. I knew that
Yeah.
I had to kill them, so I just fucking hated them and I was afraid of them and that made me hate them even more.
Mm.
That's so fucking
Well, that's
scary.
what.
You have to get in a mindset because as soon as you're like on the battlefield and you see other people running towards you, by the way, these Vietnamese soldiers did not have much going. There were a lot of just what looked like regular civilians in regular clothes carrying guns and rifles and shit.
Oh yeah, 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 definitely. I mean, there's something. I mean, I don't know much about the Vietnam War, but like,
Mm.
I mean, if you look at like, there's like the famous stories of Japanese soldiers that were still like hiding out in some of the Pacific islands, like 20, like or like five something. I don't know. Like years later, they were still hiding out, and
Mm.
there's a certain extremism in that part of the world that it seems like when we go with them, like there is a lot more hatred. It's like you see like European conflicts and that, and there's a lot of it kind of chivalry or whatever between people they were fighting.
Mm.
You know what I mean? There's a lot more respect. But it seems like whenever there's been like conflict between Westerners and pretty fucking brutal. Um, I think that part of the world they take themselves very fucking seriously. And they don't fuck about. And but yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't know much. I'm gonna have to watch that tonight.
Yeah, start it. It's long. It's weird to call it a docu-series just cuz each episode is anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours long. Each
Mm,
episode is a movie in and of itself and there's so many interviews and like I don't know, it's horrific. I've never like I think I told you I've never actually been aware very much of what happened in the Vietnam War. I knew that it was a thing. I know that it has happened. I know it was an event in history, but I wasn't actually aware of any of the presidents that were presidents during the time, and I learned that, and and just
Mm.
not that I don't expect war to be brutal as is, but like it's just when you see pictures and when you see like blood in colored pictures, there's something, I don't know, it's just really unsettling and fucking horrific.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair point because you see like pictures from like the First World War, the Second World War, and they're almost like they're almost like cartoonish. There's a huge separation. But when you see like actual like colored photography or like actual footage of that shit, it it, it kind of hits you in the face a lot more. Um, it's just it becomes a lot more real. You know what I mean? But also as well, war and like the scale of death that you see, it's hard to conceptualize in your mind. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there
I
was
think
something
that's
that Paul Bloom and Sam Harris were talking about, that the higher the number of deaths get, the less we are
yeah.
susceptible to give a shit about it. Like when that's why in these ads where they're like adopt a child or help a child, they show you like one or two children that are in like a really bad state. They don't show you the number of people that are actually just in a fucked up state and not doing well. But yo, like, you know what I found absolutely insane is journalists used to be so badass back in the day. Like journalists now, these fucking like bitch ass vloggers and like bloggers, I should say, not vloggers or whatever, and like all these YouTubers that read other articles and provide us with news and stuff. It's just like, yo, there were
Mm.
people that were running around on the battlefield with fucking big cameras and like heavy equipment and chasing soldiers and asking questions, and those are like are real journalists. That's what the job is. And they were getting in so much trouble because they were sending back information to the networks that obviously the presidents did not want put out because it was going to affect their election and their being elected the next time. And it's just such a crazy time. I kind of wish I was alive back then. I feel like that's the kind of tough shit I want to experience. Not this hearing people bitch about being stuck in the house bullshit. When there were like people who went through like real shit, you know?
Um, yeah, I don't know if I'd want to be alive back then, especially in America. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I remember having like a discussion with my dad about this, like, because even though like my generation, it's like some of my earliest memories, 9/11, and then as I got older, more and more terrorist attacks. We had the
Mm-hmm.
London bus bombings, and it's like it's hard to compare times because like my dad had the whole like IRA bombing thing. Like he was in Ireland. I think he was getting a haircut one time, and a fucking bomb went off. Like down the road from him. So like he experienced stuff like that as well. But it
Mm-hmm.
just seems it's the like the it just seems so much more intense nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like it's relentless, especially with what we're seeing now.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems I don't know, 'cause it's hard. It's like you kind of just exchanging one fucking sense of fear for another. Really, you know. I mean, yeah, there might be a sweet spot in history of like where it would be kind of easier to deal with what was going on. But I mean, the further back you go, the worse it's gonna fucking get. Especially if you're not like if you're like a peasant in the fucking
Chris is saying you
18th.
sound like you're echoing, but you sound super clear to me. So I wonder if that's something that's happening on my end.
I don't know. He's got a weird echo going
I
on.
don't know. Maybe I should change the server region. You think that would change or help it? Europe seems
I don't
like the
know,
best
man.
place to be honest.
Wait, one sec, let me speak. It's not coming through my speakers.
Chris said he sounds like a futuristic overlord. Please don't say stuff like that to him. He already thinks he's an overlord.
Bow
Hi, Gabe.
down.
Hi, Stu. Hi, Chris. Hi, everybody. Oh, I didn't say hi. Sorry about that.
I love the way Chris is. I mean, Paul's just said he's got a silly accent three
Yeah.
times. Um, I don't know. It might be. I haven't got any plugins on or anything like that. I'm not going from a DAW, so there shouldn't be any echo. it might just be because I'm in my control room. So I mean, I've got acoustic foam up and stuff, but it's still quite uh, like reverby in here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
All hail our Scouse robot overlord. If you actually became the Scouse overlord of England, then Chris would not be very happy. He would be one of the first to revolt.
Well, I've already got the fucking King Louis of fucking France look going on. The fucking long hair and that. Yeah, did you ever see what was that TV series Versailles? Did you ever see that?
No, I did not.
It's really good. You should check that out. Another one as well you should watch is Band of Brothers or The Pacific.
Listen to me.
I think.
Paul gave me homework. So Ken Burns, the guy who made this docu-series that I'm talking to you about, and I can't stop raving about it. I feel like everybody needs to watch that shit, man. Watch
Hmm.
that shit. And if you watch that stuff and you're still a fucking asshole coming out of that, you're just a piece of shit person. That's my final
What do
assessment.
you mean if it doesn't give you a perspective on things? You mean?
Yes, watching those kinds of things are supposed to help put things in perspective. You know what I mean? You should be putting things in perspective. If you're not a smart person, you're not going to fucking put things in perspective once you see something like that. But the next thing that I actually really want to watch, because there was a lot of things that were mentioned. I have this cute little tidbit I got to tell you too. But it's about the Civil War, the American Civil War.
Hmm.
So I do want to watch that because that was mentioned quite a few times because there's a lot of overlap of events. Obviously, during the time period that this was happening, because it was happening for such a long time. But there was a point during the war, the Vietnam War, where the North had come in and tried to intercept the radio station so that they could broadcast Ho Chi Minh spewing his communist propaganda and his wartime shit. But I can't remember who intercepted it. Either somebody from the South Side or the Americans, and they started blasting the Beatles instead of like the regular broadcast shit. I told Paul that right away. I remember hearing that. I was like, oh my god,
That's
you guys are gonna love
cool.
this.
What? I love what?
That little tidbit. That little.
Ah, I thought you broke up.
Hi,
Um,
Bianca.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I get a complete different perspective. Like, I don't get this kind of like stop being an asshole perspective. Like for me, it's like it's more of like a reality check on how dangerous things actually can get, and like there are people out there who want to fucking they're hell bent on you know ruling as much of the fucking world as they.
I mean, it certainly teaches you something about the nature of human beings. You know what I mean? And like just how strong belief is and just how strong ideas are. That you can pump an idea into your country and make people believe that they are going to war for noble reasons and for good causes when really they're not. You know what I mean? Or
Oh,
they
it's
may have had
it's
a reason at some point, but it was so clear after a certain amount of time, like in the late 60s especially, that this is not a winnable war. America just did not want to accept defeat and they kept fucking sending people. They kept fucking sending people. They kept fucking sending
well that's
people.
the well that's the thing. Like the Vietnam War isn't really a good litmus test for like is war good. You know what I
No,
mean?
but I'm not
It's a
saying war
pretty.
is good or bad. I'm just saying in this context, in any context, when you're seeing something play out a certain way and it's continuing to go a certain way, if you don't pick up on the pattern, there's a problem. Or if you don't want to accept that pattern for selfish, nefarious reasons, like you want to win an election.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like you're trying to put logic into the minds of people who only see like they only see their own personal greed
But
for
see, their
power and
personal
money.
greed lends credence to the logic that they need to bullshit to keep the war going. So there's like a personal ethos that comes into play when it shouldn't in this government kind of situation. You know what I mean? When you're responsible to kind of manage a country, the presidency isn't supposed to be about people's own needs, but it ends up being because human beings are selfish and power corrupts. So
Yeah, but like the people who are attracted to power are gonna be like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
just it. Like, and I mean, you never, it's very rare that you would get anyone who, like, even like people people point to like Kennedy and stuff as like some, a kind of just leader, but the guy was fucked up in many other ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to be fucked up to like actually, look for that kind of life. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like we were talking about fame. Like fame, like
That's in our
it
words.
doesn't,
But yeah, let's talk about it.
it doesn't, oh shit, but it doesn't appeal to me in any way. Like to have to, like, I think there are some people who get into it for like genuine reasons, like they love being an actor or whatever it is, and then all the other shit is like really tough for them. But there are people who like want eyes on them all the fucking time, and it's like you've got to be some kind of fucking egomaniac to want that.
That's like pure ego. I mean,
It is.
I'm not going to sit here and say I don't like attention. Obviously, I do like attention, but the idea of people watching you and being in on your shit all the time is just kind of unsettling, right? The internet is like a very delicate place to balance that desire versus the reward for getting the attention. You know what I mean? You can't take that shit too seriously, right? You can't take
Mm,
the likes, the sub counts, the dislikes seriously because people are just going to come and do shit. Having been talking about that for months, like, still to this day, people just come here and just dislike shit. That's just because
yeah,
that's like part of their thing to do. They don't
yeah,
watch, they don't
become,
listen, they don't like me, which is fine. You can dislike my shit if you don't like me. I don't mind. But
yeah, it becomes routine
yeah,
for
but that's why
people.
you can't take it so seriously.
No, you
You
can't.
can't get
You should
validation
never
from
take
people. You know what I mean?
you should never take anyone's opinion seriously,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're doing something creative. Like, there's no point. I mean, especially when it's something like music.
Yeah, it's an ether,
For
though.
me, well, for me, it's like you should have your own fucking standards. Like, because at the end of the day, it's completely subjective. Like, people are gonna hate it or love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a purely selfish, self-indulgent pursuit
It
when it
is.
whatever art you're getting into, like it is, and like I'm fully aware of that. Like that's why when I'm doing it, I try not to take myself too seriously. Like I take the process and what I want to come out of it, like the outcome and the process, I take seriously because it's like it's what I love doing. But in terms of like myself, like, oh, I'm fucking great at this or whatever, like, no, I'm never gonna take myself seriously. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Because the other thing as well about very like vulnerable whenever you like put yourself out there, whether it's music or art writing, whatever the fuck, journalism, whatever it is. Um, yeah. So you just it's a fine balance you have to strike.
Yep, and it always changes.
What always
I don't
changes your
know.
attitude towards it.
Yeah, it always changes, right? Like some no, like what the balance is, like where to strike that balance always changes depending on like as things change and whatever you're doing if it's getting less or more or whatever it is, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Mm.
I just kind of I don't know. Like I get it. I get that obviously there's a reason that you're sharing, right? There's something you want to put out and there's something you want to get back from other people by doing it. But I could never see that personally as like a sole reason to do it. I'm putting shit on the internet so it gets views. Like I don't that logic does not it just doesn't
That's
sit
the
well with
cherry
me.
on the cake. It's the cherry on the cake. You know what I mean? Like it should be what you get out of it first and foremost.
Yeah, I'm just happy
For
I
me,
get to
anyway.
express somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all comes down to expression, and I mean, the fact that we even get to fucking do that is, there's some people. It's like you got to spend your whole fucking life just trying to fucking eat and live, and the fact that I get to just make
Be on the
fucking music
internet. Yeah, yeah, it's so
and be on the
cool.
internet and talk shit with you know little brown Canadian girls. Um,
You forgot
it's
cute. You forgot to say cute.
oh did I? I'll say it next time.
Okay. Hey, me too.
Um, are you drinking your water? I can't see you, by the way.
Oh
Um,
yeah, right. I forgot.
yeah, I mean, I think people get too wrapped up in the whole kind of because everyone has that to be heard and to try and like gather an audience for whatever they're doing online, and everyone because it looks from the outside like an easy way of living. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be easier than working like a 9 to 5 job,
Mm-hmm.
but at least the 9 to 5 job is like somewhat fucking stable. Like the fact is, if you like pursue some kind of artistic career, at any point you could end up in the fucking gutter.
Yeah, I can't
Uh,
remember who was talking about this. I think it was one of the podcasts I was listening to. It was either Rogan or like if you're into art, good fucking luck trying to make money. It is very fucking hard. So you can't
that was
really.
Peterson.
Who?
Peterson,
Oh, you're right.
like his assessment of creative, open trait people is like they're fucked. You're basically fucked. Like you've got no chance. Um, yeah, you pretty much have. It's like like fucking probably like lower than 1% of the people actually go into these industries ever make anything of themselves. You know what I mean? And like you see a lot of people like there's bands that just make just enough money to get by who just like from touring and like selling a bit of merch and
Mm-hmm.
like these people like they're not and like some of these people like there's a band called Sleep
Mm-hmm.
and they've sold probably a couple of million records over their career.
Excuse me, I just burped. Did you hear that?
No,
Sorry.
it was a it
That
was
was
a it was
so
a
gross.
late it was a lady bear, probably not that loud. Um, but yeah, so and like they've sold like by anyone's standard who doesn't know about the industry, like yeah, that's a success of like millions of records. But in reality, they're living like shit. You know what I mean? It's and yeah, everyone now has the chance to actually put their music out there now. Like it's the playing field's been leveled, but all that does is just make it harder for us to break through without any money, or connections. I mean, this Billie Eilish girl, like she's fucking great, and her brother's a good producer and stuff. But like
Mm-hmm.
they clearly have some connections. Like they've been able to they've got the right they've got the right connections to actually take it to that next level. And obviously, what she's doing is really fucking
Yeah,
creative.
she's
And
got
if
that
you,
like she's got a very like ASMR kind of voice. She's very good at like she's got something different. You know what I mean? Like Billie Eilish came out with something totally fucking different. And yeah, it's a little freaky and creepy and weird, but I kind of like that about her. And I'm not a big Billie Eilish person. I've probably only heard like 3 of her songs, but it's pretty easy to catch on to like a gimmick or a pattern when someone has it.
yeah, but I don't know if it's a gimmick with her.
Oh,
I
whatever.
think it,
Everybody has like a thing, right?
yeah, an aesthetic. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, maybe gimmick was the wrong word. But remember I was talking to you about comedians, right? And like comedians who use like wrestler style like a catchphrase or something continuously over and over again that they know fans like so they can just get the reward for being not creative at all and doing the same fucking thing over and over and over again.
yeah.
Right?
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
it's
using the
boring.
same memes over and over again, saying the same jokes over and over again. There's no creativity there. There's no creative value there. You're just pushing a button of something that you know gets a reaction and has gotten a reaction in the past. And then people just get into the habit of reacting to that shit because it's like, oh yeah, it reminded me of when it was funny. Ha ha ha. And then you're like, why am I fucking laughing at this? This isn't even that funny. It was funny like the
Yeah,
first 3, 4 times. Like now it's just not.
yeah. It loses its punch, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like whatever it is, like I mean, that's why I have so much respect for people like David Bowie. Like he always was changing. I mean, even the Beatles, like even they fucking changed.
But you're supposed to
They were,
change. That's what happens if you're exploring, if you're trying different things. You're not going to be the same and produce the same music all the fucking time. You know what I mean?
yeah. But like we were saying before, like the industry is so fucking ruthless that
Oops. No, I can't
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yeah, I just I changed the server region.
Okay. Right. Conveniently, when I was talking, you cheat. But
Obviously.
yeah. But yeah, so because it's so fucking ruthless, the industry, like it's scary for artists to try and step outside the box and do something.
Mhm.
But if you actually have established a fan base online and you like, I think that's what's good about the internet when it comes to the industry now. That like whatever you're doing, if you have like a steady kind of, you know, if you have a steady fan base, like you're always gonna have somewhere to like let people know what you're doing, and like it's hard to kind of fall off the map nowadays.
I have a steady fan base of haters.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
still pay attention to me and that still come back and love me. It's very cute.
Well, yeah, it's yeah, it's pretty fucking sad.
But the
I mean,
shitty thing, sorry to cut you off, about having a steady fan base is that problem is that this happened to what's that comedian's name, the brown guy, somebody gonna get hurt real bad. Russell Peters?
Russell Peters, yeah.
Yeah. So when they started to like those like three phrases he had, they liked his Chinese accent, they liked somebody gonna get hurt real bad, and stories about his dad, and every single time he would go to a show and try something new, the crowd would like scream for him to repeat those jokes again. And again, it's like
Yeah, it's like
your audience, because they don't really want to change in any kind of way. They want to keep receiving the same entertainment. They are now putting you in a position where you have to stay still or you're going to lose a bunch of fans. But that's kind of what happens. That's like Friends too, right? You grow out of people. You're going to grow out of your
yeah,
audiences. You're going to grow out of your fans, because if you are going to continuously take the risk to be creative and do something different, you're going to have people who don't fucking like it. You're going to have people who are down to go on the journey with you and just continue with you and do. That's the fucking best kind of thing to have. Is when you just have someone who's like there to be there for the journey and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
yeah. But like those people are few and far between.
Yeah.
That's the shit thing.
Mm-hmm.
But also as well, I think. I mean, I don't like to be. It's kind of like a boomer comment to make, but like I think people's attention span is so fucking short, and they want it straight to the fucking vein, intravenous
Yeah.
fucking, and it's like it's hard to find people who actually genuinely just want to like appreciate somebody kind of stepping outside the box creatively, well, like creatively, sorry, but like I don't know. It's kind of that's why like I don't get hung up on like being like thinking like I'm gonna have some career when it comes to music. Like for me, it's just a hobby. It's a hobby that got out of hand. You know what I mean? I spent too much fucking well, not too much money, but like a lot of fucking money on gear and a lot of fucking time learning about the thing. But so it has got a bit out of hand. But I
I
don't
don't
give a
think it's
shit. It
got
makes
out
me
of hand. Like your last album was really good. You finally like put something out that showcased all the time you've been spending in your fucking studio just recording instruments and playing songs and being weird and talking to yourself. Like me.
shit. Yeah, yeah. Well, There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
Talking to yourself.
You have to. I like, but it is always so weird to listen back to yourself. I have to do that. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, you fucked this word up. Oh, this thing that you tried to get out really didn't make sense, and
Well,
whatever
it's
it
because you
is.
see yourself as other like you get a glimpse at what other people see when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to you, and like that's what everyone's always concerned about. I don't care how much they say like, oh, I don't really give a shit, like because I like to try and think I don't give a shit about what other people think, but it always enters my mind at some point,
Mm-hmm.
especially if I'm like in a fucking low place. But it's just a trick like anything else. You just got to put repetitions in, and like fucking 2 years ago, I used to hate singing, but I just got used to like, all right, well, this is my voice, this is what I can do. Yeah, I can work on it and try to get better. But there's no point. Like, I'm never gonna be at a point where it's like, all right, now I'm ready to record vocals. Like now I'm good enough. Like that's if I did that, I would only be like putting out albums when I was like, in my 40s or my 50s.
Mhm.
Like for a lot of people, like it takes a fucking lifetime to try and like, get to some standard that, you know, I mean, especially like for me, like I grew up listening to like, fucking Robert Plant sing and like, as I got older, I got into like Jeff Buckley and people like this, and they're just like it's mind blowing what they can do, especially Jeff Buckley. Like it's just ridiculous. And Janis Joplin, all these people, and like the fact is that those people like they figured something out that you haven't figured out yet, and you can't
Mhm.
sit on your fucking ass until you get to the point that you consider yourself close to the same ability as them.
And it's fun to try. Like the other night when I just like sat here for hours and I played in Fruity Loops and I tried to recreate that Nine Inch Nails song that I've been listening to over and over again, and that was it's so fun to kind of try and be behind something and try to recreate something that someone created that was like such a masterpiece or so good. It's fun. And
Well,
it's
you
also
figure out.
difficult. You see like with Trent in particular, there's just so many layers in his music and you never catch it the first time you listen to it. You have to listen to it quite a few times to actually notice there's so much ambient noise and stuff going on, you know?
Yeah, you can deconstruct it, see
Mhm.
how they did it. I mean, that's what I love about Rick Beato's channel when he does that. What makes this song great?
Mhm.
Because he actually has like the stem tracks of like a lot of the recordings that he'll study and like pull apart, and like you can actually hear like he was doing one like. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Foo Fighters. Like, yeah, they've done some good stuff, but I don't like go out my way to listen to them. But like he was basically like pulling apart all the little vocal things, and there's all these little vocal tracks going on in the background. There's like a girl singing on Everlong, and like I never realized, but
I
it's
didn't even
like
know that. I've heard that song so many times and I never heard a girl's
exactly,
voice.
but it's a part of the song that actually, if you took it out, you probably would notice there was something missing. But it's mixed down so low, and it's not really like prominent in the mix.
Mhm.
But it's an important part, like it's an important part of the like jigsaw puzzle.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that's what's great about like finding isolated drum tracks or guitar tracks and like really hearing like, okay, that's what they're doing, and like reading about gear that people used, whether it's guitars or guitar amps or it's great. And I think it lends a lot of it gives you a lot of advantages when you sit down and actually do something yourself.
Mhm.
'Cause
Oh, huge.
oh yeah,
Trying
yeah, because you're
to
coming from a perspective that you're coming from a place where you've actually learned from people that you consider like great, or people consider the greats, or that you've been influenced by.
Yeah, I'm like so I think Trent is a little bit easier like his easier songs where there's just like I don't even I'm not going to use the right words and I never use the right words, but like, very repetitive, very like four notes of music. Is that the right word?
Simple,
Note,
yeah.
key, note, key, note,
Notes,
not a chord,
no,
note. Yeah.
notes. Well, that one you sent me, yeah, that was mainly it was there was like a bass line, and then there was like lead parts, I guess you would call them. Um, yeah, I mean,
I
you'll
want to get a
learn all the
bigger MIDI
fucking.
though. Now that I have this little MIDI here, I'm kind of like I saw yours and I was like super jealous and I was like, I kind of want to get a bigger one. But I think maybe
Uh-huh.
after a while, maybe after I get a little bit more acclimated and more adjusted to making stuff and like learning the actual notes and what those sound like without having to look at stuff where I could just, do it. I want it to become an intuitive language.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I think I was saying to you, like, you've got to learn what works for you. Like for me, I can play like a major scale, a minor scale, like talking about guitar. Like I can play like a major scale, a minor scale. I know like, I probably know more chords than I know the names of the chords. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like for me, it's about patterns. And I think it's a lot easier to do that with guitar. it's I think if you're gonna approach music through playing keys, whether it's a piano or a fucking MIDI keyboard or an organ or whatever, like you probably need to know more theory because it's I don't know with guitar it's kind of like the everyman's instrument. You know what I mean? Anyone can pick it up and like start playing like pretty much right away. You know what I mean? You teach somebody like three chords and they can go and play like probably a couple of hundred fucking songs. You know what I mean? So, but with MIDI and stuff, I think you probably need to know a bit more theory. But at the end of the day, it's like whatever works for you works for you. Um, yeah.
What were we talking about before that? We went from the Vietnam War all the way to here.
Oh, we are talking about like fame, people kind of,
Remember,
yeah,
your ego has to be your amigo. And if it's not,
mm,
you know what kind of people you get when that's a problem.
yeah, yeah. Well, you get people who are fucking hell bent on
They just got to protect their image.
forcing their
They
opinion
have to
and
it's all about protecting their image and making sure
yeah,
they
and the
have an
opinion of
image
themselves.
that everybody outside is seeing that image, and that image cannot be tainted by any fucking realistic shitty behavior that they might exhibit. And they work hard tirelessly to ensure that that image is always propped up, that veneer of a person that they've created to show the
Well,
world.
that's why fame must be so tough for people, especially when you've got like publicists and things. Like you basically got to play that game you're describing, but you've got to play it out in the fucking public eye rather than just like your small group of friends or family. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's no point. There's no point in like yeah, everyone has like secrets and things they don't want to like tell people, but there's no point in living this like huge constructed lie of who you are. You know what I mean? Like that's I'm as upfront about my issues with everybody I get to know. You know what I mean? Because eventually they're gonna fucking encounter it. You know what I mean? Like oh,
Time
where the
brings
fuck
that
have you
about,
been?
though. Unless
Exactly.
unless you're just the type of person who wants to be cool with everybody, which by the way, I don't believe those people at all. I'm cool with everybody. I'm friends with everybody. No, you're fucking not. You just haven't stuck around long enough to actually have any conflict with someone.
Or they don't want to address the conflict, or
Yeah.
they I think
Or they create a conflict and totally fucking lie about what happened in the conflict. You know? Like there's that.
yeah, yeah. Or there just is one and then they still fucking lie about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's,
Yeah, it doesn't
it's,
matter. Like it's crazy. Like they double down more and more, right? It's like I have screenshots. Nope, didn't happen. I have the exact timestamps and dates of all this shit. Nope, didn't happen. Not how I fucking remember it.
well, because they'd have to change their opinion of themselves, they have to change how they live, they'd have to change so much of their
Or just
reality.
come out and say you don't give a fuck and you're just a piece of shit. Why not just say
Yeah.
it? No, you can't because nobody else can see that person as a piece of shit. And like there is something just so like people are really good at justifying their own behavior, and the smarter you are generally the better you can justify your bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like there
Mm.
was this amazing thing Louis CK said. It wasn't that amazing, it's just pretty basic, and that was, if someone tells you you're being an asshole, you can't then turn around and be like, no, I'm not being an asshole,
Mm.
because it's not about you. You were the one who did the thing that made them feel you were an asshole. Hear them out or fuck off. Did
Yeah, I
you watch his
watched
new
his
special
special,
yet?
by the way.
Did you like it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was. I enjoyed Tom Segura's more.
Mm-hmm.
I watched them both in the same night, and there was. But I liked the kind of what I liked about Louis was there was that underlying tension of what had happened to him, and then when
Mm-hmm.
he finally addressed it, and everyone just like, you know, he was like, "Fine, I'll fucking talk about it then," and like, he started talking about it, and I liked that kind of that release. You know what I mean? Because I was wondering when he was going to address it.
Mm-hmm.
I like Tom's because it seemed more. He just seemed more savage from his other stand up that I'd seen. Like he was kind of, when he goes into that mode on the podcast where he's like, it's like all this darkness comes out.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. I think it's one of the best things about him because he comes off as such a nice, sweet guy. He also looks like he's just the sweetest teddy bear.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
he starts like saying all this weird, crazy shit, and you're like, oh my God. And you like it more, right? Because you don't expect someone who looks so jolly and happy to just say such dark, weird shit. Um,
yeah.
the Louis C.K. special, so I don't know if you heard the leaked set when his set was leaked where he was working it out. Like a lot of the material he was working out. And it was a lot punchier. Like it was a lot more harsh. And I don't know. It was way better than what the final product of the special is, but he had to cut a lot out because he only had an hour with the special. And I mean, considering it, I thought it was pretty good. I like Louis is my favorite comedian, so I'm just going to be kind of
Is it?
biased as it is. Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, most of my favorite comedians aren't American.
No.
Like I like Billy Connolly's probably my favorite comedian. Um, there's another guy, um, Irish guy called Dylan Moran, who I think's fucking hilarious. Have you ever seen Black Books?
Mm-mm.
It's a TV series. It's got what's his fucking name? It's got some other fucking comedian and I can't remember his name. Another Billy. Doesn't matter. But yeah, like they're usually my favorite. But in terms of Americans lately, Mark Norman's pretty fucking good, and I don't really like Joe's stand up. Like all the podcast comedians, it's about when they're in a room together or they've got guests on. You know what I mean? And I like that kind of like you know I like when you just see a like bunch of people in a room having a fucking laugh. You know,
Mm-hmm.
pissing about like that. It's good to see because it just seems like on TV you don't everything's so stale and fucking. It's like it's like formulaic, really, like we were talking about before.
Mm-hmm. Like what Data
If,
Wasteland said, if one person tells you you are an ass, you might be one. But if everyone tells you you are an ass, you may want to take a look into that. But some people aren't willing to tell you you're an ass, and that's most people. Oh,
yeah,
Chris
I think
said,
people just.
sorry, go ahead. Let's go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say people just want a fucking easy life. Go on, what's it, Chris? Say?
Chris said, I've never seen Joe Rogan do stand up. Is he funny? His stuff in the beginning, what was the one he did? Flying Monkeys Through Space? That was probably his funniest, but that was way back in the day. That was like 90s or like early 2000s or something. But I don't particularly find Joe Rogan that funny stand up wise. I mean, I went and saw
Yeah,
him and I just like Joe Rogan. Like the podcast is way better than his comedy, I think. And he has his moments where he's funny and some of his bits are funny. They're more revelatory. He's more kind of like maybe he has a little bit more Bill Hicks where he kind of talks about real life stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm not
well,
a
that's
fan
it.
of his
He's a big
comedy.
politics.
I like his podcast a lot more.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I think that's what it is like with them. For me, like, I mean, he's got a lot of influence from Bill Hicks. Like he talks about him a lot on the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and you do see it in his like the way he's always like he'll address people like he'll point out some complete fucking surreal aspect of human nature and he'd be like he calls like the audience dummies or he calls whoever he's talking about dummies and he has this kind of aggressive like mode like you see that with I'm just calling him Hitch. You see that with Bill Hicks as well, when he leans forward and he's like
Yeah, yeah,
K
yeah.
it's like talking to fucking dumb people, like, and you get that vibe from him. But the thing is, like, Bill Hicks, I think, was way smarter than Joe
Oh
Rogan.
yeah, for
Um,
sure. For
I
sure.
mean, the guy started fucking doing stand up when he was like 15 or something.
That
Like,
was like
you don't,
Chappelle, man. Chappelle started when he was like 15 and he is just fantastic.
yeah. See, I think Chappelle was probably one of the first American comedians that I ever, came across because
Mm-hmm.
we'd watch like, there's some stoner movies in. Um,
Last Friday.
not Friday. I don't think it's Friday.
It's
Um,
Jim Brewer's in it too, right? That one?
I can't remember. It's been so long since I watched any fucking stoner movies.
Yeah, same. I wouldn't know anyway. I'm really bad at that.
Yeah, but that was like the first time I was kind of exposed to him, and then like a couple of my mates put on some of his stand-up stuff, and then there was Cat Williams.
I'd never found him
Um,
funny.
Yeah, but like when we were kids, like
Oh, okay, when you were kids,
just
fine.
like loud black
Fine.
guy. Yeah, yeah. And are you fucking being a cunt right now?
Yeah.
Little shit. Um, yeah. So yeah, there wasn't that many. It was mostly like English comedians and stuff that I saw on the TV. Um, but when it comes to American stuff, like that was well later when I got exposed to like people like Hicks.
I'm like
Um,
so late on the scene. Way late on the scene. Like, I found Louis C.K. probably back in like 2009, 2010. That's probably when my comedy, like being in love with comedy kicked off. And then I, and then I got into like the Hitchens and the Dawkins and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
hmm.
It was a weird kind of crossover.
What you mean? So you went from comedy to wait? Did you say Hitch or Hicks?
Hitch.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Well, I think with the um, um, what was I gonna say?
I don't know. Sorry.
It's your fucking fault. Um, oh, like yeah, with Hitch and all that, like that was pretty late for me. Um, because I was like on YouTube and like maybe like 16, 17, and there was like some kind of conspiracy shit that I would like dip in and out of when I was really bored.
Mm-hmm.
But then like Hitch and all that came along quite late for me, maybe like 18, 19.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the stuff that I was getting into, like politically or like any kind of like, yeah, any kind of intellectual thing, it was what my dad was handing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like a lot of Chomsky, um, like that kind of vein, like quite far left stuff. And then I found obviously like the Young Turks, and then
It's so weird to think that I used to watch the Young Turks religiously back in the day.
I can't remember watching them religiously. I remember just being like, oh, this is like interesting. Like this is like a an internet news thing that's quite big.
I
And then
really
it
used to
kind
like
of
Anna Kasparian. That's the whole entire reason that I was like, oh my god, this chick is like super cute, and she kind of reminds me of me a little bit because she's got that like dumb ditzy LA
you're like, I'm
California kind
fucking
of.
better than
Oh my
you.
god, I'm fucking better than you. I definitely feel that shit. So I was kind
Yeah,
of with her on that, and then over time,
yeah,
and AIU watching that kind of totally changed my mind about it. And then I was like, I can't watch it anymore.
yeah. Well, I think you get into that realm of like YouTube and you come across so much. You know what I mean? Like AIU, and then there was like obviously Sargon.
Oh yeah,
I
Sargon.
can't remember who else I watched, but it's like I think there comes a point where you kind of need to move past that kind of like cookie cutter um political content that it's maybe not cookie cutter. It's probably more like streamlined political content. Where it's like they kind of like it's not this broad knowledge that you would get from reading books or like reading a really like well written article by someone who's like been a journalist for fucking like a decade.
Politics
Um,
is where everything goes to die, right? Like like any topic that doesn't require that you look through a political lens, which is most of those fucking things. They just go into the arena of politics to die because then it becomes a side taking thing, right? And I know that's kind of American centric, like thinking of it as left or right, but that seems to be the way that it goes.
um, well, yes, for the majority of people, but the fact is, you can actually get like you know, you can actually find a more common, like sorry, not a more common, like a middle ground attitude towards things. Like,
Hmm.
well, these people have a good attitude towards immigration. These people have a good attitude towards religion. These people have a good attitude towards, they have good ideas, I would say, when it comes to economics or whatever it is. And like, there's no point in putting yourself in a box, either right wing or left wing.
Mm-mm.
Like, just pick and fucking choose, pick and mix your fucking ideas. Because like, I mean, this like I'm sure. I think Marx called it dialect. I can't remember the fucking term, but like, you basically, you you go you find ideas, you hold them up, and you see who comes out on top when it comes to like the merit of the idea, and then
Mm-hmm.
move forward. Like that, it just seems like the logical conclusion. There's no
Yeah.
point in like this whole battlegrounds like political attitude. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's people trying to
It's
hang on
one-upmanship.
to,
That's what the internet is too. It's one-upmanship.
yeah, but they're trying to hang on to like any shred of tribalism
But
because they're
I don't
scared of
even
being
think
on the right.
tribalism is the problem. The problem is you are just scrambling for things to solidify your identity in this world and you're failing. You know what I mean? That's where you're identifying with ideas because they're emotionally stabilizing for you. And that's people think that if they just think that if they believe in something, that that's enough to like help form or keep some sort of identity or at least an aspect of an identity. So a lot of people's identities revolve around their ideologies and the things that they believe, and that's obviously the incorrect way to look at it, but that seems to be the prevalent mode of engaging with the world is that your beliefs and your ideas are because they provide some sort of emotional currency.
Support.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, that's where it gets dicey. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, ideology is just like whether it comes to economics or politics or religion or whatever it is, it's ideas should be there to solve problems with whatever subject you're talking about, and
Mm-hmm.
you should not tie it up in your own identity. You know what I mean? It's like if people are gonna like I'm an anti-theist, like I hate fucking religion. Like this is why like I always disagree with you on the Peterson's point about about how it's got a lot of utility for people who are either lost or they've got something to deal with, or it can groups have value and all that stuff. Like I'm always going to disagree with you on that, and like because I hate it so fucking much, but at the same time, like
That's a newer development in my psyche just because like it's very difficult not to sympathize with people.
of course
And
it
as
is. My
much as I
grandmother's
agree, see like I'm torn here. I agree with you. I don't think that moving forward it is the right way to manage our thinking, to have placeholders where there should be better ideas coming in to break the mold of your development and how you've grown up and all that kind of stuff. But that's just the problem with those things, isn't it? Is that it's things that people have developed with and grown with that have really become so much of a part of their identity, and they can't let it go, especially when they get to the point where they're adults. And like I can't just it's like telling someone with a mental illness just snap out of it. Like I know you've had it all your life and stuff, but just snap out of it. Like that's fucking impossible to ask someone to do. People have shitty regular habits and they have such a hard time getting rid of those. You know what I mean? I'm guilty there too. So as a matter of like brains and how they work and just all that stuff, it's very difficult for me not to sympathize. And I really don't want to do that thing where I hate or dislike and otherize someone because they believe something different than me. And then we can't have the conversation. Then I'm part of the problem where I'm looking at you as less than human or incapable of doing something simply because I'm comfortable with an idea that you hold that is actually so central to your ethos and to the person that you are. And it is hard to argue against it. It's also hard to be like, I fucking hate it. I don't like religion. I think it's garbage, blah, blah, blah. But also,
I'm not gonna like I don't know. I don't think. I mean, first of all, I don't think it's. I don't think you can. I don't think it's comparable to kind of look at mental illness and belief in an ideology on the same page,
I'm just
because
saying it's
that's like,
something that if you've developed with it, it's very difficult to separate yourself
but
from.
you don't develop with a mental illness. It's something that comes that it one day will fucking hit you if you're prone to it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I
Either way,
think
what I'm
like,
saying is it's something that's a part of the psyche that cannot easily just be removed.
yeah, it's integrated into their
Yes.
fucking, it's yeah, it's integrated into their identity. It's integrated into how their thought processes, you know, play out every
Yeah.
fucking day. Every day if you're waking up going, oh, I shouldn't do this or I should do this because of this all-seeing fucking eye in the sky. Yeah, of course that's gonna like it's gonna be hard to rip that out. But like, if somebody actually has like mental illness, like that's a whole other fucking ball game.
I know, but I'm not. Don't think about it too deeply. I just use it as an analogy for one sense. We don't have to start breaking down both those things to for you to explain to me why they're different. I understand they're different, Sean. I'm just saying, like, it's very difficult to get you to snap out of either of those things.
Of course, yeah, yeah, of
That's all I'm
course.
saying.
It obviously, yeah. I'm just saying they're on different levels, but I think it's the same kind of yeah. You're gonna have the same difficulties because you're trying to teach someone how to think themselves out of their situation
Mm.
if it isn't, you know, if it isn't good for them or the world at large. It's like with this whole thing going on with, I mean, like China with their wet markets and the way they treat their populace. I mean, one thing at a fucking time, but like the wet markets.
That's so gross.
When this is over, like the global community needs to put fucking pressure on them to stop fucking living like this. I mean, I think there was what was it, tiger bile or bear bile or some kind of bile from an animal. The government were backing this as some kind of therapy for coronaviruses. So like SARS beforehand, before any of this happened, and like I think up until recently they were still doing it. Like bear bile, like that's gonna fucking solve the issue, or it's gonna have any fucking benefits for you if you're suffering from one of these diseases. Like it's so integrated into their culture, and
Yeah.
it's gonna take a lot of fucking. Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought, were you smoking?
No.
Oh, I thought you were smoking.
No.
I heard the noise and I was like, she just fucking took a fucking drag on something.
No, I just
Um,
had a laugh at Chris. Chris made me laugh.
oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, this whole engineered thing. But yeah, so it's gonna fucking take a lot of pressure, and the fact is they're probably not gonna fucking change.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
No.
I don't see it happening. Like it's fucking ridiculous. The fact that see, this is the thing. It's like I'm all for right to self determination, but if what you're doing is going to affect the world on this
Yeah,
scale,
no
like
kidding. That's
unpack it.
that's that's a problem. So it's funny. So Sam Harris said this in one of his recent podcasts. Is he's like, if you're holding a duck and a bat in each hand, as far as I'm concerned, you're a fucking terrorist. Right? I mean, if it's going to cause such a huge problem like this, where the world is seeing the numbers increase of this COVID virus that supposedly has come from bats. First of all, I have to say, at this point, if people are discussing conspiracy theories of like China's, it's all China's fault, China did this on purpose, blah blah blah. I don't understand all of that. It's like we're not focusing on the problem, which is this is the problem. Why do we care where it came from? The point is it's here now. That'll be dealt with. As far as we're aware, there are wet markets in China from where these things have a higher potential to hop from an animal into a person. I don't know. Am I crazy? I mean, it can be fun
No, I think
sometimes to indulge in the conspiracy theories. I mean,
it's
sometimes, but at this point, like, with it's just like,
you can't. People are putting the cart before the horse. Like it's like all these people going. oh, the NHS wasn't as prepared because the Tories made all these cuts. It's like, yeah, that's right.
Mm.
But what is complaining about that going to do right now?
Mm-hmm.
You're in the fucking moment. You've got to deal with what's in front of you. Well,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's like you've got this fucking issue in front of you and you're going to point to what happened in the past. What's the fucking point? You're just wasting time. You're wasting fucking resources as a government, like whether you're the fucking opposition party or you're somebody within the Tory party
This is why I love
or
Tim
you.
Dillon. He's like, look, anyone right now who is sitting at home trying to figure out some crazy conspiracy theory or work out how the Chinese did this on purpose, you're just putting things in the way of you dealing with your own bullshit. How about grow as a person? How about fucking pay attention to the things in your life that you could fucking fix? I hate getting back to this like fix yourself guru bullshit, but fucking honestly, people are always trying to find distractions from like fixing their own fucking heads up, and they've told themselves they're fine, and it's like, bro, you're not fine. You're not okay.
Yeah.
If your free time is spent trying to figure out some non-existent fucking problem, you need to check yourself. I'm sorry you don't have friends, and I'm sorry you don't have people around you to tell you that you're fucking nuts. That's why you're running around on the fucking internet talking stupid shit. Like, all these people are on Reddit. There's subreddits formed about this stuff. Ooh, let's all get together and meet at this time and talk about fucking, you know, conspiracy theories about the virus. Like, dude, is there nothing else? Is there nothing else for you to do?
Well, all this will be figured out when we come out of the end of it. You know what I
No.
mean? China isn't going to come out of this unscathed. I mean, the only thing that worries me is any kind of conflict that comes out of this. Like that's the one thing that worries me.
Yeah,
Like I'll be
it's gonna be
honest,
Donald
because
Trump that fucking starts it with all this stupid shit he's doing, not sending essential goods over the border or sending them. I can't remember what the last thing was I read. He was like,
he's like a big baby Huey at the moment.
it's, you know what? It's such a weird time in history where like Trudeau has to be very careful about what he says so he doesn't piss off America. Like, we wanted to close our borders down way before it actually happened. But we couldn't because of the fear of what Donald Trump would have done in retaliation, because he would have taken it personal if we were like, we got to close our borders. We cannot allow travel in and out of Canada from the
Yeah.
US, which, by the way, Washington state, aside from New York, has the highest cases. I have a feeling that our case that came to BC probably came from down south. I'm 20 minutes away from that border. So as
Well,
soon as
yeah,
I
of course.
started hearing that, I was like, dude, shut the borders. Like, why are we even fucking around with this?
Yeah, it's it's got to be tough. You know what I mean? Like I
I
think
know.
if one thing's given me a kind of appreciation for how difficult it must be in politics,
Mm-hmm.
because before this it was all fucking kids. It was all fucking kids game. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like it was kids games. Like it just it's really given me an appreciation for how tough it must be because you've really got to play your cards right. And I think I don't know if you look at the Canadian numbers, you are doing a lot fucking better than we're doing.
Oh yeah, we're doing great.
Yeah, like you've pretty much followed the same trend as South Korea from what I've seen. But yeah, it's pretty fucking dicey over here right now. And the one thing that really pisses me off
Hmm.
is our fucking recovery rate is still like 190 something. And like all the other countries are in the tens of thousands when it comes to recovery rates.
But I don't
Like
understand that number. 190 people per day are getting better? Like, what do
in
you mean?
total, in total.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but isn't
We've
like
had
your progression on the timeline isn't as far as, say, Italy?
well, yeah, but we're like still getting like the ratio we should be higher in recovery cases. You know what I mean? When people start getting into the tens of thousands, they are into like the tens of thousands
I
or
see what you're
like,
saying.
of recovery rates. And like now, you look at I mean, I haven't got the fucking
Did you see
statistics
what
up.
Chris just said? The recovery rate stopped being recorded in the UK last week.
Okay. But still, last week, why are they not recording them then? Like, wouldn't that would indicate to me that they don't want people to fucking see it? You know what I mean? It's like the whole thing when like the statistics on like the ethnicity of people committing crimes or the religious background of people committing crimes when they stopped fucking recording them. You know what I mean? It was for obvious fucking reasons because they don't want backlash or whatever. I don't know. I don't fucking trust. I don't trust the government. Like as much as they, like I said, I've had a lot of more appreciation for how they've dealt with it.
Because you can
But I
figure out
just,
the recovery rate by taking the numbers of cases and subtracting the deaths.
oh, okay then.
That just means you gotta do a little bit of math, Shawnee.
Fuck that shit. It's their fucking
Do
job.
it. Do it for me.
Do it for, yeah, exactly.
Do
Do
it
it for
for
me.
me.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's fucked. I mean, it just gets me.
I don't know. I'm kind of like, let's see what happens. It's here. I'm not gonna sit here and just be like, oh, it sounds depressing. Yeah, we get it. Let's see what fucking happens. What is it going to do to humanity? Will it make a change in a way where people are going to be better to each other? Probably fucking not. But it's interesting to see something this major shake people up. And that's like fully from the position of I could die and get sick as well. And I fucking felt like I was gonna die last week, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's all good. We're human. We could fucking die any goddamn day. It's just not that big of a deal if you're either gonna die getting hit by a bus. I was talking to you about dying last week, right? Like I'm just really not scared of dying from a pandemic or dying.
I'm not scared of that. I mean, I don't want to see people I like suffer. That's my main
No,
concern.
I don't want that either, but at the same time, like people you like are going to suffer regardless and are suffering. So, and what are you going to do about it? You're just going to sit there and be like, I feel sorry that you're suffering. No, you're going to keep doing what you're doing. So,
Mm,
we
I don't
all
know.
fucking are. You know what I mean? That's what else is there
Yeah,
to do but continue to move on? Be there for the
yeah, I don't
people that
know.
you care about and be supportive. And
Yeah,
then other than
I don't
that,
know.
that's it.
I have a kind of like I feel guilty sometimes. Like lately, I've been feeling guilty
Why?
because I'm in like a good position right now. Especially like my city doesn't have that many cases comparative to the rest of the nation. I mean, the northwest as a whole is pretty high, but like Liverpool seems to be doing pretty good.
Mhm.
And I don't know. It's just I always. It's like when there's something that could equally affect me, and it's not, and it's
Mhm.
affecting other people. Like I just get. I don't know. I've got like a weird guilt complex to a lot of things. I don't know. That's just who I am. I
Maybe I'm
guess.
autistic. Maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't feel any guilt.
Maybe it just
If
the
like something
fucking.
happened to a friend of mine or somebody was ill or something, maybe I'd feel something. And like I it sucks that people are suffering. You know what I mean? I don't like that idea, but at the same time, like what is my feeling gonna do for them? Nothing. So it's a nice thing to say in the moment, but we live our lives like we don't care. And that is the bridge that people don't seem comfortable to acknowledge. Because it's there. You're sitting and thinking about it and you're feeling guilty, but what have you been doing every day? You're just living your fucking life like nothing's happening. We've been avoiding this whole thing by not watching well, you've been watching the news more than me. I have not been.
Mm.
But like what I feel is not going to contribute negatively or positively to this issue.
Yeah, of course I know. I know the. I know the logic of
Okay, so
this,
but
but
what's the like why is the guilt still there though? Like is there if there's no reason for it to be there, is that not something you can just make go away? You just feel guilty? Yeah, I must be dead inside. I'm like a broken person. For sure. I'm like totally broken.
as yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, we've got completely different backgrounds, haven't we? You know what I mean? And like, I think I would describe myself as somewhat of a nationalist as well. I think there's a lot of like I hate seeing like people in my country suffer. Like I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it may be. So maybe that's part of it. And as well, like I mean, a lot of the people that are having to get up every day and face this.
Yeah, that's brutal, man.
Are like they're NHS workers, and like my mother worked in the NHS for like I don't know
Yeah,
15
there are
something
people
odd
just
years.
pulling insane hours right now, working around the clock just to keep people alive. Like, I really feel for those people. If I could help those people, I definitely would. But
Yeah, of course. Like I think that's another thing as well. Is like I feel bad because I want to help in some way, but I don't know what. Like the only way I could help was like my own family. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, that's all you can do,
buying.
anyways. Just in life in general, you can either just
Yeah,
do
you
your
can.
best for you and try and make it better, and that
You you got to
that
figure out what you can affect and what you can't affect.
yeah, exactly. I'm
Pretty
like,
much.
I just want to be like, I'm comfortable with the idea of like not being able to fix everything. Like when the office first closed, the first thing I thought to do was I should actually go volunteer at Surrey Memorial Hospital. You know, I
Mm.
should like see if there's anything I can do. But then I fucking got sick, and now I don't know if I can even do that. And I think if I do want to help, I probably need to get tested beforehand. But
Yeah, what happened with that? Like, did you know you tried to get in touch with? There was some number you had
yeah,
to
so
call. Or...
811, I've called them twice now. The first time I was on hold for an hour and a half and I was fucking sick of it and I couldn't. And I think it got interrupted by a phone call. And then the second time, which was 2 days ago, I called again and I was on hold for like 2 hours and like 40 something minutes. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to get a hold of them before I go back to work. So I'll call them
Hmm.
today. I think it's 24 hours. After we do this, I have another phone date that I got to have and then I'll try and call them again. Mm.
Yeah, it's I think that's probably you definitely need to get it done before you go back to work. But
If it's
it's
necessary.
fun.
But it's weird, like the guidelines here are if you feel sick, if you have symptoms, quarantine yourself for 14 days. Once you've done that whole 14-day thing, then you're able to go back out or
Mm.
whatever and you should be fine. Like I don't particularly believe that. I'm not even sure if once you've had it, I think once you've had it, you can still transfer it or share it. But I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know. I think you can apparently that you can get sick again
Mhm.
is something that I think. I mean, it seems like the cases where people have got sick again, it seems like they were just misdiagnosed
Mhm.
and then they actually got the disease. So they had something else and then they were actually, they were clear. They were told they had it and they didn't have it and then they actually got it and got sick again with the actual disease. So they're not actually getting sick twice. It just seems that way. And I think from the numbers of the numbers of so-called like reinfections or this biphasic thing. So it's like you get what it's a biphasic disease. You get there's one stage of the disease and then it happens again more intensely or with different outcomes.
Chris said,
Um,
once your symptoms have gone, you can only transfer it up to 7 days after. If there's no evidence, you can recontract the disease. The disease. That's not typically how viruses work. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
yeah. So I think a lot of the numbers that people was pointing to, they were so small that it just seemed like okay, that's an error in the test or whatever.
The
So
numbers are
they didn't
inaccurate
actually have.
anyway, right? Like we were talking about how there's a lag and you have to wait.
Well, that's the worrying thing as well. That like when we actually start hitting, like the curve starts flattening,
Mm.
people start going, "Oh, look, it looks like it's better now," and they'll start risking it and trying to go out, and that's bad. That's a bad fucking idea. We might be doing that too early.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm concerned. But hopefully, when I get hold of these people, they can tell me something. My boss is like, you can come back. It's all good. That's what the guidelines say. And I'm like, okay.
Or like after you get tested.
No, I don't even need to get tested. As long as I've spent 14 days in quarantine, I can just go back. And there's no one there anyway right now, so it's not like it's a massive risk or anything. But
Yeah,
I made very clear to him. I'm like, I'm not entirely sure what this is. I'm gonna call 811. I'll let you know what the deal is, but you know,
yeah. It's
Ain't
just,
nothing else you could do, right? You just have to, whatever they tell you to do, you have to do it. You have to follow the procedure. You have to be responsible. If they say it's fine, it's fine. If they say it's not fine, that's fine too. And I'll just listen to what they tell me. I don't want to get anybody sick. I don't want to pass this to anybody. I don't want anybody to fucking get what I got because it was just awful.
it'd be crazy, like, if you actually did have it and you actually have the antibodies.
And I have O negative blood, which means anybody can take my blood.
I heard something about certain blood types were like less. Well, like, it was less likely that you would contract the disease, or you'd have a better time with it.
I
I
don't know
heard
if
there
I
was
would
some.
believe that because who the fuck knows? Like the research is just so new.
Exactly, yeah. We're
I'm worried
working
about any information coming out right now on this particular disease and how it works just because like I've been reading or hearing a lot of different accounts about how this virus behaves. I mean, it obviously behaves like a virus. That we can say for sure, but it's just the way that it's presenting in people is very like I
Well,
don't
there's the
even know
whole
if I've got
asymptomatic.
it. It could have just been a flu that I got, but like the way that I was experiencing my symptoms was very odd.
Well, you had the whole, like, because I read that the way it affects your lungs, um, like, you literally can feel the fact that, like, the lower part of your lungs are filling up with fluid. And I remember
No,
you
there was
saying that.
no fluid. So with pneumonia, when you cough, you feel the bottom of your lungs feel heavy with just residue and mucus and just all that gross stuff. But what this felt like was this much of my lung, both of them. Well, you can't even see what I'm doing. Like 3/4 of each lung felt like it was just dead and not working. I could only feel breath at the top part of my lungs. And it was so horrific. It was so scary.
Yeah, I'm sure it fucking was. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in.
No,
It's
it's like I remember waking up and like messaging my boss and I couldn't even really talk, but I sent him a voice note because I wasn't gonna fucking type. I was panicking and I couldn't breathe. I was
mm.
like that's how I woke up in the morning. It
Oh,
was
fuck that shit.
yeah, it was horrific. I didn't know. I didn't know. I just not being able to breathe causes me panic already because during springtime my asthma kicks in and it's just really brutal.
Yeah.
So I
Oh yeah.
already have a problem with that whole thing.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I think most people do. If you can't breathe, it's like one way to fucking calm yourself down is to try and breathe. And if you can't do that,
exactly. Exactly.
not fun. But yeah, like, I woke up the other night and I was like sweating. And I was like, oh shit, have I got a fever? And I realized it was just because my room is like really fucking hot. And I think everyone's like that at the moment. Everyone's on edge. Somebody coughs around them, or like, oh, I'm coughing a little bit more than usual. And the fact is that, like, I have a smoker's cough anyway
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a fucking idiot who smokes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so like I'm always like, am I coughing more than usual? Am I, and then sometimes my lungs feel heavy anyway, and like it's not fucking good, man.
Mm-mm.
It's fucked up. I mean, I just I want to get to the end of this.
Yep. And I think we will. I think we
Uh,
will. It's all gonna be fine, dude.
yeah. Sorry, I was just looking at the chat.
That's all right. You caught the thirst trap in there.
Just
Oh.
ridiculous, man.
I mean, there's always going to be cunts. And Devin Tracy and his crew are always going to be cunts. That it's not going to change. No matter what happens, that bald fucking bitch and his loser dick sucking orbiting friends will always try to start shit. So I hope that was satisfying for them.
But like,
Um,
I mean, that's what they want.
yeah,
They
keep
want you to say
coming.
shit
Keep
like
coming. It's cool. What is there to
Uh-huh.
do? Like 2 years later, these people are still so fucking. What is wrong with you? Oh my god, there's a pandemic and you have to come here and you want to start shit. Like, it's
Yeah.
so. You
Well, I
guys are
mean,
in your 40s, man.
I
Like,
think
fuck, you're in your
if we
40s.
if this should fucking teach people, it should be like spend your time with people you like and like your family. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't know tomorrow you could fucking get this disease and you're wasting your time writing bitchy shit or you're like disliking videos. Like, what's the fucking point?
So
Like,
here.
yeah, do what you fucking want with your time, but
Yeah,
like, are
yeah.
you really fucking using it the best way you should be?
But do you
You know what I
remember when
mean?
this guy was yelling at me about how he's such a positive person and he's surrounded by positivity? This is what positive people do. They're gonna
Doesn't
they're
seem like
gonna
it, mate.
come here and they're gonna like try and start shit with me and Chris. Like, Chris, whether he listened or not, I think he understands my view and we understand the nature of our relationship. But
Yeah.
you need to come in and do petty shit because you're a petty person. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, look,
Like, do
if
you
you,
not notice when we just sit here and continue a conversation, like you're not in the chat trying to start shit? Like, we're just talking, dude.
yeah.
And your dumb shit doesn't matter. But you're so thirsty for just a little bit of validation and attention.
What did you say? What did you say in your last video
Oh,
about
I was just
internet
talking about
friends?
how, like, the internet isn't real and, like, I.
Yeah.
I don't. It's
Of course it
not
fucking
though.
is.
It's what
Like, yeah,
happens
look,
off the internet that determines if I am if we have a relationship or not. You know what I mean? And like,
one,
this is the
yeah.
problem with people who don't understand and who take everything you're saying and hold it to some standard that makes no sense. And by the way, I'm going to say a lot of dumb shit on the internet because a lot of my thoughts are super dumb. They're not thought out. That's exactly why I do the morning thing, which
Are
I've
you trying
always
to tell
said.
me that you're not perfect, Amy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people who think they're fucking perfect usually fucking aren't.
No, and they
The
gotta
fact is, like,
lie.
me and Amy through the internet, and we talk. But the fact is, like, tomorrow we could not be fucking talking,
Hmm.
and I really don't like. Neither of us are gonna give a shit. You know what I mean? It's the fucking internet. Like, if
Hmm.
you put too much fucking stock in it, like, it's fucking
No, did you
ridiculous.
burn your AIU merchandise? No, I didn't burn it. The sweatshirt is actually good quality, so that I still wear it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a hoodie, bro. I'm not gonna throw away a hoodie because I don't care that much. And plus, if I really did, I could just use I took permanent marker and I think I kind of like changed it to say something silly, like something is unstoppable, but I can't remember. But no, I did not burn any of my merchandise. I didn't do any of that stuff. All I did was simply disconnect and stop talking to those people because there was nothing that was going to come from that. Once they'd already kind of lied about what happened, what more is there to do? Right?
Mm.
If you're going to lie about what happened and then you're going to delete all that shit out of your server so that you can just give this narrative to other people to make them believe what actually happened and they want to believe it, that's fine. Everybody will is their own person. They can believe whatever they like about it. I just don't care. It's been 2 years. Like, I'm just so over these people.
The other thing as well is like, is that even that account? Is that even who it is? Like, that could just be somebody trying to fucking start shit. Like, that's
That's
the other
true.
fucking annoying thing.
Yeah, you just
Like,
don't know, right?
that could be fucking anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the fact is that, like, all these people that we came across in the AIU Discord, like, I had a fucking great time when
Mm-hmm.
everything was civil,
Yeah, yeah.
and I just don't see things can't why things can't just be put to bed. Like, why is
No,
it
I
gotta
don't
fucking?
either.
I don't want to sit here and fucking talk about it, but the fact is, it's like I'm not gonna like bitch out and not fucking address it if you're like
Yeah, if you're
chatting
gonna
shit.
come here. And like it took me over the last 2 years quite a bit of just like getting annoyed and letting it go because I was getting emails from sock accounts and I'm so certain we're Devon. But we're gonna leave it at that. Just vicious and really rude emails. And then you're coming in here trying to say shit like, what about you change? Bitch, please. Don't be coming up in here acting like a total fucking drama thirst trap and then tell me I need to change. If you're not going to watch your behavior, don't worry about mine. Worry about yourself, all right? Worry about yourself. 2 fucking years later, still obsessed over the same people who are just trying to get away from you. We're trying to get away. There's no interest anymore. It's
Yeah.
boring. It's
I don't
fucking
I don't
boring.
I don't hate you. I don't
Yeah, I don't
fucking
hate
like
you. I don't
you.
like you.
It
I'm not
doesn't
interested in you.
fucking doesn't matter. I'm indifferent to the situation. I am indifferent to you. I don't wish you any ill will. I don't wish
Yeah.
you any fucking fortune. You're a person. And like that's what it comes down to. Do what the fuck you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do. But like this is as much as I'm gonna fucking say. I don't want to address it any
Hmm.
fucking more. You know what I mean? I
Well,
don't.
we're gonna have to because I'm not really interested in. I'm not gonna block these people, right? They're just gonna find other ways to come back here. And if
Yeah.
you're not Devin, you're definitely someone who orally pleases him and gets some sort of elixir out of that dick to come back here and start some shit about old rivalries that you're aware of. So please, okay?
Yeah. I mean, it could be fucking anybody. I mean,
Yeah,
I
so at
don't.
this
I don't
point,
think
I
it's
don't even
Gangle.
think I need to whoever it is. It doesn't
I
matter.
don't think
They're
it's
a ghost
Gangle.
anyway. They're a ghost. That's one of the things I said too. Is like people on the internet are ghosts, man. These icons with their pictures and shit, they're ghosts.
I don't think it's Gangle.
Whoever it
It's
is.
annoying as well because like a lot of these people I never had any beef with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I didn't either, bro. Like shit got started with me for no reason because like remember he was saying that I was being passive aggressively cunty at him? And then I did a thought cast and he thought it was about him. Like whenever I did a thought cast, the person I really did them about when I did do them obviously was Dan. And he knew and he had no problem because we'd talk about it after and whatever. Never did I have a problem with Devin that I would do a thought cast about him. I like okay, we hang out on the internet, but I don't really care about you that much where I'm like gonna talk about you on my thought cast when I'm just talking about behavior. We were cool at the time. I asked you when I thought you had a problem with me if you had a problem. But you said no, and then you came at me a few weeks later or a month later or whatever it was and said that there was actually a problem. You know, it's just if you want there to be a problem, there's going to be a problem. I like getting along. But if you don't want to do that, I don't want to hang around and be part of your drama. You know what I mean? It doesn't do anything for me. And like
I
all
don't.
those people around him that talk to me every day, that spent hours and hours on Discord with me, suddenly turned around and found a reason to dislike me, you know?
Yeah.
I don't
I just,
recall supporting Dan when he threatened you. I thought it was funny because it was a joke.
so maybe that
I'm
that is
pretty sure
probably.
he apologized too because your sensitive ass couldn't recognize that it was a joke. But then when you guys are posting pictures of when Devin posts a picture of an abused woman in his Discord and puts Amy after our AIU meetup, you guys don't have much of a leg to stand on. So please, please, you can save your nonsense. For
Yeah.
everything you're gonna throw at me, there's something equally douchey that you and your group has done. And you know what? Remember I said to you like I just after you get out of it, you realize kind of how much of a I just wanted to be part of the tribe and fit in and wanted people to like me that you see in yourself. And I was like, ugh, that was a blessing in disguise that happened. That was gonna happen at some point, if not with me, with somebody, because that guy is just divisive.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's. I just don't see the fucking point in carrying any of it on.
Yeah.
So over it. It's like I mean, Gangle, right? Me and you always fucking. If that's actually Gangle, me and you always got on. Never had
Yeah,
any
I
fucking
liked
issues with.
Gangle. Until the last minute, I didn't have a fucking problem with him. I still don't have a problem with him because he didn't do anything to me.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
Gangle, Marino, Grant, the only thing they did was bitch out and just go take someone's side, and that's totally their right to do. But like, they didn't do anything to me. So why am I gonna hate them or dislike
yeah.
them or come at them with negative shit? Like, no, I'm not going to. We're just gonna go our separate ways. That's it.
Mm. But like, this is what I was gonna say. Like, I got on with you, Gangle. We had some good conversations about music, all that shit. Same with Grant, Alf, Marino. Like, why are you in a YouTube chat typing shit at Amy years after this shit has happened when you could be chilling with your wife or your girlfriend or whatever it was? You could be watching a movie, enjoying your time, and you're sitting here like listening to some like
Some girl
you
you
know
hate, like you don't
some.
like me. You have a problem, or people certainly seem to project that. Like, why
Yeah,
are you here?
I
Oh,
just
it's
don't
fun.
like.
It's entertaining. You guys are ill. You are
Well, don't put words in the mouth. I
cognitively
mean,
ill.
the fact is that you could be doing anything else,
Yeah.
anything fucking else, anything else, and like
So this is my new thing that I
this is the
heard
problem.
from Me Inspiration, and it's called pronoia. And that is when people are here, they are for you in some way. They are here giving you attention for a reason. And like Tom Segura and Christina said this, is that people who hate you are actually people that just really like you and don't know how to deal with the feeling. And you know what? Whether that's true or not, that's what I'm going to tell myself, because I'm going to spin this positively, and I'm going to be about that pronoia, not paranoia that anyone hates me. And I'm just going to take it as you're for me. Thanks for spending the time here. It's crazy that 2 years later I am still on your fucking mind in the littlest degree. It's crazy.
Hmm.
Flattering, really. Flattering. But
Well, definitely not here for me. I can say
what's that?
that.
Oh, here for
I
you.
said they're definitely not here for me. I mean, like, let's be honest. If you're gonna come here and listen to some fucking like droning fucking scouser, I
Yeah, but you're
mean,
lovable.
that's even
That's why you're
fucking
here.
weird. Yep. Yeah, I just it's
I'm here for
fucking
Sean. The accent kills me. Well, Chris is here for you. He doesn't care for me.
killing
Sorry,
me
Chris. Is
slowly.
it because I'm not naked and painting my body?
That's something you could do.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I've seen some of those screenshots from them streams he watches, and that's pretty fucking crazy.
What are you talking about?
Those streams you were just talking about, the body painting ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, screenshots? That's a whole other goddamn topic.
Mm. I want to know where the glorious strategist is from. He thinks Liverpool's a shithole. Apparently. I wonder if you're American, I wonder if you've ever even fucking traveled outside your own fucking country, you fucking hick fuck.
Yeah, this girl, sorry, not to change topics, but this girl had just like nipple covers on, and she was, did you show you a picture of what it looked like?
I saw some screenshots in the Discord, yeah.
Yeah, it was super cool. But yeah, that's pretty permissive if you could just wear nipple covers and paint your body. It's kind of cool.
Well, it's one way to get views, isn't
Yeah, educational indeed, Paul.
it? It's strictly
I mean, it's
educational.
cool. It's creative, right? Like it's hard to paint your own body and see what's happening. So it looked pretty cool, and it was surprisingly symmetrical. Like I was very impressed with how well she was. Like it was all straight.
You sound like you tried to do it.
No, I would like to.
Shit, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
One sec, let me turn my fucking notification noise off.
That wasn't me.
Um, I know, it was somebody else. uh, yeah, it's I mean, I definitely wouldn't fucking do it.
I think what I want to do a lot more now. It's gonna be nice having the 3 days off, right? Because I'll only be at work 4 out of 7. That's awesome. Is I do just want to spend more time in Fruity Loops with my fruity self and just make music. Everything I'm trying to make right now, or everything that I am making, sounds very creepy and suspenseful and really kind of like unsettling.
Yeah, one sec.
Oh my god, he left me. Well, anyways, fine then. Let's see what's happening. I'm originally from San Fran, but I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin now. Sure, you do. See, I can't believe anything people say on the internet. You shouldn't even believe what I say. I am someone who will say just whatever for my own entertainment purposes. You know what I mean? Because why not? Words are words. Actions are more important than words. Trust me. Right, Sean?
What are we saying? Say again.
Actions are more important than words. I will say really dumb, stupid, crazy shit if the moment strikes and you know you've been witness to that. And
Yeah,
it's
you
just
can't
not,
trust.
no, you just can't take it as seriously as like someone's behavior. Someone's behavior is a lot more telling than the stupid shit that they say, especially on the internet. The
Yo,
internet is
people
a
will say
ghost
fucking
town.
anything. People will say fucking anything. You can't trust me. Like, and like that goes for me as well. Whatever I've said on this stream right now, you know, you can't fucking trust if that's actually what I think.
Yeah.
Because I could just be bullshitting everybody right now,
Hmm.
and you,
The only way to
so it's
really
about.
determine if someone is being honest is with time. Like when you have a relationship and you talk to someone consistently over a long period of time, it makes it easier to decipher whether they're being honest or not because you can contrast what they're saying with other things they've said, you know? And like lying is something that comes just so naturally. It's not it's something that like we learn to do or use as a strategy, you know?
Well, yeah, you can get a lot of things out of life by lying.
Your words are an extension of character. I mean, to a degree. It's just not as important as your behavior, though. People can say a lot of things that are deceptive and that are fake extensions of their character and just total fucking bullshit lies about who they are. But, sorry, I'm still not going to take words as seriously
Nah, you can't.
as
I
much
love.
as actions. You know what I mean? Words only do so much. They only go so far. And they'll never go as far as somebody showing you what their values are. People act out their values. That is a really important thing I learned from Jordan Peterson. They say a lot of shit. Look, it is a social strategy to be nice to people. People are nice for nefarious reasons. It takes a long time to actually realize someone's being genuinely nice to you because a lot of people are just trying to get shit out of you. So they're going to be nice to you. Whether it's your business, your fucking money, whatever the fuck it is. Nice is a great way to get that. To make people believe you are nice is a great way to get what you want out of people and exploit idiots. It's just how it works. That's how we spend so much money on stupid shit that we don't need, you know?
Mm.
No, I didn't say my word isn't of any value. I mean, it's very difficult for you to understand what I'm saying, it seems. But words are not as important as action. I mean, the action
Well,
substantiates the words.
your words ain't gonna have any value if your actions back up what you say.
Right, exactly.
It's where the inconsistencies lie, and if somebody has, you know, over and over again demonstrated inconsistencies when it comes to their behavior and what they say, then obviously that implies that you should not trust that person.
Right, exactly. I mean, talking is important. We need it to communicate ideas and things. But when you're building a relationship with somebody, friendship, whatever, actions are way more important. And actions actually determine far more about someone's character than what they say.
Hmm.
Hey, I can paint you a ice cream sundae of the way that I think I am, and you might buy it. But once you bite in, you might notice there's a hard piece of coal in there, and I'm actually really a cunt. And that can only be determined by like it's important to keep score. You know what I mean? Like this like, "Oh no, don't keep score. Don't worry about it. We're not keeping score. I'm keeping score." I keep score of the times that I didn't want to be nice to people and I'm nice to people and the times that they fucked with me. And if you don't keep track of those things, you can't keep track of like just the social circles and networks that you're in. Like this is how the species grew to be so big. This is how tribes were successful back in the day. This is how they built trust. You have to keep count of these things. That's why we have the ability. That's why Dunbar's number is a thing. There's a certain number of things that you can pay mind to, and you should pay mind to those things. And you have to be selective about the people you talk to and the people you hang out with because they fucking influence and affect you too. Like I said, like it was a blessing in disguise to be separated from that shitty group because I just started to feel better. because I was acting in a way that I didn't want to be behaving at 30 years old. At 30. I don't want to be 40 years old and behaving like that. It's so fucking disgusting and decrepit. Empty, fucking, ugh, gross. I don't want to. So,
Yeah, I mean,
meh.
just is what it is.
No.
That happened, and nothing you can fucking do about it.
No.
But
But I'm
yeah,
saying like
look,
it's a good thing. Like when things break up, no matter what it is, it always seems like it's a bad thing at first. But most of the time it's not. Like it's just things end for good reasons. Not always, but I think most of the time, yeah. Like most people are not supposed to be in your life that you meet. If you're growing, you're gonna shed some people. That's it's kind of like the snake in its skin, right?
that would, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think you just need to acknowledge what was good about whatever situation it is,
Mm-hmm.
move on, and that's all you can do. There's no point in like sacrificing like your principles or whatever
Mm-mm.
to stick around people, whoever it may be, when you know like. Because the thing is, it's just if you're around people who, like, if you're around people who you know have lied about certain things or haven't been honest about certain things, that you have to lie and be dishonest to actually just still be around those people.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not willing to do that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't care how fucking lonely I get or whatever people fucking say about me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes people are just meant to be there for a little bit of time, which is totally cool. And then they're just not they're not good enough for you or whatever the case may be. You're just over it. That's cool. I think that's what it is. Sometimes you have a great
Mm,
time with people and then you don't have a great time anymore and then you just leave. Ta-da!
yeah, but yeah. But that's the thing. It's like I just don't see why once something's over, like people stick around, and it's like you've like that's like the only position. I was talking to Chris about this a while back. I was saying the only position where you can actually regain any respect for yourself and in other people's eyes, and actually attain any power is being willing to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only way, because you just look like a little bitch if you stick around. That comes to relationships, friendships, whatever the fuck it is. Like if something's over and you stick around, like you can't let it go, you look like the bitch.
Yeah, Sean, I think you are gonna
Uh,
have to shave. I don't think no. If he waxes his face, it's gonna hurt. If I was there and waxing his face, I would definitely make him stream it. But
Mask compatible. Well, I shaved it like maybe like 3 days ago to put a mask on, but it's kind of coming back. It looks darker because it's dark in here, but yeah, I think you're right, Chris. I'm probably gonna need to get like a Hitler mustache, just shave off here and then all my chin and shit, and then I can put the mask on and still have something up here. Like I don't know if you can see a Hitler mask.
oh my god, I could just feel the aspiring dictator in you when you cover that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Chris shaved today. I forgot. No, you shaved the other day. Yesterday? When did you shave?
Chris
He
shaved
had
like a
to
couple
use
of
a
days ago.
regular. He had to use a regular razor.
Has he run out of batteries or something?
I'm not I just don't. I'm not gonna pay attention to you because I'm not interested to talk to you. Is that good? That's it. Sorry, I just saw that. I am avoiding, and I'm going to continue to avoid. There you go. Oh yeah, yesterday. He shaved yesterday, and he had to use a regular razor.
Yeah, that can be tough sometimes. I I used to do that, but I don't know, I look so because if I let it grow for a while and then I let it take it all off clean, I just look so weird.
Same, Chris. I don't. What is the day today? It's Monday. Is it Monday? It's
Um,
April 13th already.
yeah, it's
Wow, that's
Monday.
crazy. Remember I told you like I wasn't able to I didn't check my phone for 2 days because I was asleep for 2 days.
Yeah.
It's weird waking up from that because you don't actually realize
How
what the
much
hell
time's
is
passed?
happening.
Where you are? Yeah, 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 yeah.
What's
It's hot.
happening? What time is it? Where am I? I don't understand.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, people kept saying Happy Easter to me. Okay, can we talk about that really dumb conversation that we had yesterday?
Oh my god.
I was like, I don't understand why people are saying Happy Easter to me. Like, we're not particularly religious here. Like, I'm not religious. Why is everybody saying Happy Easter?
Well, you. What was it? You said something like, "Well, I get." No, you were saying you understand why people are with Easter, and wait, and then
No,
I said
it
something.
was really dumb. I just remember saying something like no sooner did
You
I.
said something about Easter. Easter, like Jesus is the central character with that story. Like that's why it makes sense to be like for it to be religious. You were talking about it being religious, and I said, "Oh, well, Easter Bunny and all that shit." And you were like, "Yeah, but it's more central to do with like Jesus." Like, and I was like, "Well, what about Christmas?" And you were like, "Yeah, well, you didn't realize that fucking Jesus was born apparently."
But I had
And then
said
it
that
had
2 seconds
everything.
before too, because I was like, well, I associate Christmas with presents and trees. And then remember, I was like, well, the fucking name of the holiday starts with Christ.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking on the tin, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Like
So dumb,
you're
so
like
dumb.
you're like holding a can of beans, and you're like, "What's in this?" It says fucking beans on it.
Yeah, that was definitely a blonde moment. I have several of those.
Oh yeah,
But
you're
nobody's ever wished. I think it stood out to me, and I realized why. It's because nobody's ever wished me Happy Easter before.
yeah.
I've never spoken to anybody that was like, hey, Amy, Happy Easter. Everybody was like, fuck yeah, Easter weekend, no work for 4 days, see you later. And that's always what Easter was.
Well, it's I don't know. You get that more in the UK,
Hmm.
especially where I grew up, and then you have like Ash Wednesday and all that stuff that happens.
What's Ash Wednesday?
It's like when the Catholics they go to church and they get like the wet ash in a cross on their forehead.
Okay.
It's like it's part of the Easter celebrations. I think it
Okay.
marks like you. I think Ash went. I could be completely fucking wrong here. I'm probably talking out my ass, but um, basically, I think Ash Wednesday starts, and then it's meant to be like each day is like meant to be one of the like when you go to a Catholic church and you see like the what's it fucking called, like all the different stages of Jesus carrying the cross. I think it's got something to do with that.
Hmm. Yes, Easter is the resurrection, Chris.
Yeah. Well, Amy couldn't even remember what fucking Jesus was born. Well, that's the thing. It's like all this religion. Like I'm so. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna get into fucking debates about religion with people. I'm so
Mm-mm.
over it now.
Mm-mm.
That like I, I don't even bother my ass to even read up about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you get past you once you understand concepts and you get past it all, and like other people are still trying to figure out or making silly arguments that you completely you got past years ago.
I mean, Chris, I thought it was about
Nice.
chocolate eggs. That was my entire argument until it totally failed.
Of course you fucking did. Of course you did.
Easter also refers to the fertility goddess Eoster. How do you pronounce that? Eostre.
So
Oh man. Chocolatey eggs and bacon. You guys were talking about like spam before? What kind of a garbage human eats spam? Spam is gross.
spam fucking got us through the Second World War.
Oh, fine. It got you through the Second World War, but it's still gross. It wouldn't be my first choice for meat.
What's your first choice for meat?
you can't see my huge smile.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
probably sausage or chicken
uh,
breast.
yeah.
I'm just gonna give you a boring answer, okay? Yeah,
Mm,
apparently
sausage.
Chris Sean was alive in the Second World War.
Yeah, yeah. I'm an old soul. I have I've got this trick where I like skin young people alive, and then I inhabit their bodies. I'm actually like I'm actually a vampire. That's why
You
I'm
look like a vampire for sure.
that's why I'm in the fucking dark, Chris. And this is the only.
It is kind of funny when people who are younger than me start talking about back in the day. I'm like, dude, what do you mean back in the day? What back in the day are you talking about?
Back in my day.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, I'm fucking what 27 now,
Yeah.
just anyway, like in February. So I'm not exactly a fucking spring chicken anymore.
Your teenage years are like a rich tapestry of a lot of occurrence and event though. You did a lot when you were a teenager.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Like I experienced. I mean, obviously, I'm not like some fucking old guy who's fucking experienced everything,
You are so
but like I
old.
did. What?
You're an old soul, remember?
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's more like attitude. Um, I just think I'm not like a man of the world or anything like that, but like I just did a lot. I went through a lot, and like I don't know, you get to a point where you're like, I kind of just want a chill life. Like I don't want to go on drug binges or fucking like, yeah, I'd probably like to do a bit more traveling, but like, other than that, it's like I've pretty much
Sorry, honey bear. Well, that plan's gonna have to be on hold for a fucking while. Remember how we were talking about like, oh my god,
talking
it's
about.
been great. We've just been like building our lives up, like putting money in
Uh,
the bank account, getting shit together, getting ready to make moves, and then bam, COVID.
well, that's what
Wah.
that was my first annoyance was that like I had all these ideas to do,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next minute this happened. And then like coming back to the whole guilt thing, like that's when I started feeling guilty. I was like, I'm coming at this purely like selfish position.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, like we're
yeah.
we're very lucky in the position that we're both in for sure. Like, oh, I'm stuck at home, but I have this crazy wicked computer setup and like I have Netflix and I have TV and I have books and I have so many things to keep myself occupied that will make sure I don't get bored, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's I don't know. I don't know where I'm at on that guilt thing. It's
you need to reconsider it because I don't think it's a fair feeling for you to bear. You know what I mean?
yeah. I know what you mean, but it's like
What
I
I
don't know.
want to know is what is that guilt going to do for anybody? You know, like, is it going to motivate you to help in some way, or is it going to be able to get something that you can direct that energy into? Because if not, you're feeling shitty, and it's not exactly adding to the sum total of positivity in the universe, right?
Yeah.
Not that it's all
I don't
positive or
know.
negative. I'm just saying, like, it would make sense for you to hold on to that feeling if you could do something with it. But because nothing can be done with it, not only is it not helping them, but it's also not helping you. It's like it's
I think it's
taking
like
away from you.
I think it's like the last remnant of my superstition. Do you know what I mean? Like what like the way we were talking ages ago. When things are going good, you're like, well, this isn't gonna last forever. Like something's gonna come and bite me in the ass eventually.
Yeah.
Like I think that's where it's coming from. It's like that last kind of death rattle of any kind of superstition that I grew up with. Especially being grown up Catholic.
Mm.
It's just I think that's might be what it is. Like if other people are in a bad position, I can't fully enjoy myself because, or like, when things are going good, I can't fully enjoy myself because I'm constantly bracing for something bad to happen.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's just I've got still got like that concept in my head a lot, and it's
That's a that's just the howls of trauma.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like I don't like I got you know because of I mean I've told you about why I got that diagnosis
Mm.
and things, and like yeah, I still don't like it because it's like it's associated with people who've been through like really fucked up shit.
I know.
And like, man, I guess being that young and seeing that, like, yeah, that was like it fucked me up probably,
But
but
the younger you are, the greater the degree of effect. I mean, obviously severity plays a part, but because that thing happened to you when you were so young, it's obviously still going to have an effect. Whereas like obviously that can balance off, right? Like older people go to war, but they still come back with that like the memory of it. Because an emotion can be triggered easily by something that's similar and make that thing and trigger that thing.
mm, yeah, I don't know because that's the thing. It's like I don't think I've ever like fully processed it to have like any deep understanding about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I was like, okay, well, this is a diagnosis and this is supposed reason. Like, what can I do about it other than just get on with my life? It's
I don't know. Um, I mean, getting on with your life is kind of a good thing. I don't know if you can necessarily get rid of that like instinctive reaction to something that brings it up again. You know what I mean? And you don't want to be in a situation where you're like trying to engage in some sort of exposure therapy where you're trying to recreate the scene again so you see that it's not as bad because it is going to be as bad because it was fucking bad. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's never a good position to be in when you're seeing something happen to somebody you really care about and you're helpless and can't do anything about it.
yeah,
That's just
yeah.
it's just a really
Well, that
tough
might be
thing.
what it. I mean, that makes sense then, doesn't it?
Mm.
Like being helpless.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel guilty about being helpless in a
Helpless that you can't
situation
do anything
where
about it.
like that's what I feel like now, and like I feel like I
Mm.
can't do anything about what's going on. And yeah, I'm not one of these people who thinks they're gonna fucking save the world and all that bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
But like seeing people in a bad position and not being able to do anything, I think it just makes me feel guilty because
Mm-hmm.
of like yeah, because of what happened. But
Mm-hmm.
like maybe that might be it, and maybe I'll never get rid of that. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty yeah. But at the end of the day, it's like I think me whining about I feel guilty and I don't like it. But it's like well then again like that's something to feel guilty about because you're sitting here whining when you're in a good position and the people who are actually having to deal with
You
this
have the
shit.
luxury to sit there and feel guilty.
Exactly,
You
yeah.
know,
Which
like
is
it's
more bullshit. Yeah.
it's so crazy to think about that because like it's so easy to get caught up in your own like oh, poor me, poor other people. Look at me. I feel so bad for people. I'm this, I'm that. Like, there's some weird calculation happening in your brain where it just wants to keep producing that feeling. I wonder
Yeah.
what it is. You know what I mean? Aside from like the actual initial experience that created that thing in you, but like it's like we sit here and we want to be more miserable or something. We're like afraid to be happy or something, you
Yeah.
know?
I think that's what it is. We're afraid to be happy. I think that's what it comes down to because if you spend enough time kind of miserable or like stressed or whatever it is,
Yeah.
it becomes your natural state. And then like happiness or genuine happiness anyway, it feels
Foreign.
it feels foreign, but also as well as like any kind of emotion is very so you don't want to get used to it. It's like so when good things happen, I don't want to feel like I don't want to get used to it because when it goes away, then I'm gonna miss it.
But you can
I think that's
not get used to it and at the same time not feel guilty too. So what that is, it's like a failure to connect with the moment, right? Like if we look at
Mm,
something, if we can zoom out a little bit and look at something and we understand that it's going to be good and it's going to be bad, and both those states are fleeting. They're not permanent states. We're
mm,
just not comfortable with them in the time that they're happening. So there's some weird shit happening in our brain where it's like creating the situation of familiarity that we want to be in, which guilt is like a form of stress. Stress is a
mm.
situation a lot of people are familiar with, especially from when they're children. And then when they're back into the other flow, so when they're in the ebb and they're trying to create the other feeling, and then they're in the other feeling and they're trying to create the opposite because it keeps them stressed. Because that feeling of stress is what's familiar.
Mm. Well, yeah, I
I
think
don't know,
obviously
just a thought. I'm not saying I'm
we
right.
seek out we seek out things that are familiar, clearly. So
Well, exactly, right? So that's what I was
yeah.
saying about relationships with me is that I grew up in a situation that was always tense, very violent, very negative, unhealthy. And if I'm in a situation that's healthy, I start to do things that make it unhealthy because that's what's familiar to me. And I feel comfortable in an unhealthy situation because that's what I'm used to. And that's what my mind keeps wanting to create from when I was a child.
Yeah, and you keep trying to fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of self-sabotage.
Yeah, so much self
I mean,
sabotage.
yeah. I mean, there's another thing about like, certain people who want to like bitch and moan about you. It's like we're both like, I mean, I'm pretty open about being fucked up. I'm not always right, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
wrong
Me
about a lot
too.
of things. And I'm not the fucking, I'm definitely not the smartest fucking person out there. Like I've never
Mm-hmm.
claimed any of it. But at least we're willing to fucking admit that shit.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. People
But
who want to
also,
pretend to be like
if I
perfect.
didn't do something and you're ascribing intentions to me and all this other shit, don't expect me not to defend myself if you're wrong. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna look at something. Like, if I'm the type of person who is willing to be open about the mistakes they've made and the things that they could have done or they did to contribute to an issue, I have no problem listening to that. So when you're telling me I'm doing something that I'm not doing or not intending to happen, that's a big fucking problem.
Hmm.
Then there's a discussion necessary. And if you can't have that discussion, then that's it.
Well, that's the other thing as well. It's like I'm sure, like you know, we could clearly sit down and have a discussion with certain people about what happened, what went wrong. But the fact is, like, that's gonna just turn into a massive mess.
But it
You know
shouldn't.
what I'm saying? But it shouldn't. Yeah, of course.
If you
And
cannot
I'm
agree, both people should be able to come to a we can agree to disagree point. Are we cool? Are we not cool? Yes, no. If we're not cool, cool. If we're cool, cool. If you decide you're cool, you're gonna put that shit behind you, and you're not gonna bring it up again unless you're gonna make jokes about it, because that's how people cope. We make jokes. We do shit,
oh yeah, yeah,
right? But you can't like decide you're cool and then takesy backsies.
yeah.
And if you do, like, that's just gonna that causes a disruption. Like, if it has to be done in a proper way, doesn't it? It has to be done in a way where like things
Resolution.
yeah, like, and it's challenging because human conflict is just difficult in general. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
people always say they can do it and they're down to do it, but they can't. Like, you're gonna come up in a chat and say shit, and it's like, this isn't a conversation.
Well, that's the other thing as well. Is like there's a big disconnect, obviously, with
Mm-hmm.
how the communication's happening. That
Mm-hmm.
was always one of my complaints about everything that happened, that the communication broke down so much that it was like almost impossible
Mm-hmm.
to get anything beneficial out of the situation. And I think if you're not willing to actually have a sensible discussion about it, and you just kind of try and like constantly see it as a competition and like this like one-upsmanship, you're never gonna get
Yeah,
anywhere.
the need
You're
to
just
like,
perpetuating the bullshit and the arguments and everything. Then what's the point in that? If all you want to do is just sit around and argue,
there's a million places you can find to do that on the internet.
exactly.
It's a cesspool of that kind of shit. I'm just not
Yeah.
interested.
No, I'm not
And
interested.
even
I
when
mean, this is
vegan
like,
gains came at me, remember? Like, he was just so childish. There's a reason that guy got
yeah.
bitch slapped so nicely. It's because he was acting like a child. He couldn't engage in a conversation like a normal person. He couldn't
Yeah,
talk
let's
without
be
getting
fair.
hyped. He could not remain calm because he was so
Uh,
emotionally invested. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's a lack of B12, I think.
Hmm.
Brain isn't working properly. But yeah, I just don't see the point. I'd rather put my time into people I like,
Mm-hmm.
family, and trying to make myself the best version of myself and being creative. Like that's the only thing I'm asked of. Like I
Wasn't I
think,
like
I
so
mean,
mad 2 weeks ago and I was like, this is my new rule, Sean. If nobody's gonna contribute to me in a creative way, I'm fucking losing their number.
yeah.
I was so fucking mad 2 weeks ago. Like I was just angry and
Oh
feeling
yeah, yeah.
resentful and all that shit because I was just so fucking mad. You know what I mean? And here's the other thing is like you
Mm.
can't get out of somebody or something that you want unless you tell them. Right? So it was a failure of communication on my part too. People can't know there's a problem unless you tell them there's a problem or you're unhappy with something or whatever.
Well, that's the decision, isn't it? Like, when am I going to bring this? Like, should I bring this up?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then sometimes when you actually finally come around to the conclusion that you should bring something up and talk about it, it's usually too fucking late. And then it's just damage control after that point. And then do you really want to spend your time playing damage control and conceding ground, um, and sacrificing your principles, sacrificing who you are? Like, I mean, do you really want to spend your time doing that? Doesn't matter how much, you know, there's a lot of good times had, I guess.
Yeah, that's where
That's
it's ending, right? That's where this is all ending. It's like you kind of just got to take the good for what it was. And if you're not interested in dealing with this person anymore, just appreciate the good and just move along now. Just move
exactly.
along. That's all you can do. And there's
Yeah,
always going
yeah.
to be people who want to suck you back into their black hole of negativity and garbage. But
Well,
it's
yeah,
up
like
to you. Mm.
me and you were gonna come on here and fucking talk about those things you were gonna write
Oh
and pick it
yeah.
out of the hat,
Did I even show
and
you? Are
like,
you even seeing the stream? You can't see it.
uh, it's on my laptop. But I think you sent me a picture on what.
There's words in that. Each thing has a word on it, and then that's going to be our word game moving forward. And
Well,
then
to be
we
fair,
can.
we spent like how long fucking setting this whole thing up. My fucking studio, I had to like
That's
plug a
okay.
bunch.
I mean, it was nice just to talk, you know. I like just talking to you. So,
That's what I'm saying. Like we have no interest in this subject. Like we want to just chat or whatever
yeah,
about
yeah.
whatever about. Like we don't want to address this shit. Like if it comes up, I'm not gonna shy away from it. But
Yeah, I don't want to be at a point where I'm like afraid to talk about things because like insofar as people I used to talk to and people I used to have problem with have value to me, that value is social. You know what I mean? No emotional value, nothing else, but there is social value from that people from that person, those people, those experiences. That's what they provide me with now. Is things to learn from. And so that's what I'm going to take it as. And I'm not going to I hate the idea of like having to keep my mouth shut because why? You shouldn't have behaved like that then. Whoever or whatever. Don't act like that. If you don't want people talking shit about how you behave, just don't act like that. And insofar as that's the concern, yeah, we're probably going to talk about it if there's a topic that comes up and it's pertaining to a certain behavior. But I just hate the idea of like being worried or being afraid because what? You're going to be mean to me on the internet? Go for it, bro. I don't care anymore. I had so many fucking emails and so much garbage and so much fucking weird harassing shit coming at me for like a fucking year and a half. I'm numb to it now. Right?
yep. Like I say, I mean, I was kind of over it before it even began. Really.
You're
So
telling me. You're telling me. But anyways, I'm gonna end this. It's been like 2 hours. I really need to pee. Maybe we
Okay.
can do this again tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
I
maybe
don't
we can
mind.
actually play with a word tomorrow.
Yeah.
And maybe I can figure out why on earth this didn't work the way I wanted it to, where it like
What?
let me log into where it like puts everything up for me. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't know what you're saying.
So remember I was telling you in the beginning, no, you don't remember, is that with Streamlabs, um, every time that I do a stream and start one, a pop-up comes up that asks me what I would like to name the live stream.
Oh, yeah.
So this time that didn't happen. So I was kind of like,
Well,
why?
I think you gotta do it in YouTube, haven't you?
No, everything is done through Streamlabs.
With mine, it's like half on YouTube, half on stream.
Mm. Well, see, I
Oh,
downloaded Twitch Studio as well, and I was trying to get Streamlabs to work with Twitch because I wanted to draw, but I don't really know exactly how to work that. So I'll probably have to harass Chris in the next couple days and
yeah.
get all that started.
Well, Chris is probably gonna be the best person to talk to
Oh yeah,
about that.
all the technical stuff. Chris is the best at.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to end this then, and if you need to go for a piss.
Yeah, I'll just connect back on my phone. Yeah. Yeah, Chris
Okay.
is
Yeah.
the Twitch magician. So we have the words for the rest of the days and whatever we're going to do, which is super cool. And I keep adding more. I'm like, oh, this word would be good. So I just throw it in there.
Well, that's the thing. It's fucking. It's not like we're gonna run out, is it? So.
Mm-mm. No, and it's fun because we can both drone on forever. So it's
Oh
perfect.
yeah, that's all. That's all I fucking do is drone. Um.
Okay, I love the bones of ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.